All right, hey guys, welcome back. That was quick. Man, I hope everyone had time to goof off a little bit, maybe grab a bite or get a drink, watch a little TV. I've been working the whole time. I had to do, it's kind of a strange little pivot to go from a pilot jam session to a build that fast. And I also went and got the motor tested. So this is the motor that I'm putting back on. And let me go ahead and pop that up. I'll give you guys a look at that first so you can see that. So here's the motor test. Oh, perfect. It started right at the front. So here's the motor test. And just to give you the results, I did put it on the judge and I got 521 watts at 33 amps. This is with a four cell battery. 521 watts, 33 amps, 33.3, 15.24 volts on the sag, 28,492 RPM, and 1,064 on the thrust. So while you guys, if you want to check that out, I'll let you, we'll do that. But I also want to point out that while it looks like I got a lot on this quad finished, I really don't have that much done. I did the boring stuff. I did the quad frame. This is a really easy thing to put together. It's not, it's just a couple screws, a couple screws on each arm. There's really nothing to that. Same with the motors, screwing 4 motors in. That's not fun to watch. I basically wanted to get myself to a point where what you would see would be things that may not be obvious to you if you don't build these. That's kind of where I was leaving it. And so with that done, I've got the camera mounted. The VTX is not there. The flight controller is not there. We still have one. I want to show you guys this little technique that I use. I'm still learning. It's not like airplanes. Airplanes, I've got a routine for my planes. When it comes to quads, I'm still kind of learning some techniques. And one of the ones I just taught myself is what I'm doing with these wires. So I'll kind of show you what they look like. Right now, everything's a little loose, but that's by design. It'll tighten up when I finish. But I just saved the last motor for you guys so you can see how I'm doing that. So there's the motor test. You can see the thrusts. Yeah, there it is. I just wound up the test. So that's it. Again, 521 watts, and I saw 1,064 grams of thrust. So, okay, let's flip back over to this thing. And wait, what's this going on? Robert, why wasn't there? Oh, Robert pinged me. I don't know. I'll have to get with Robert later. Anyway, so here's the game plan with the motor wires. What I wanted to do was, I got the guides came with the kit, so I ran the motor wires through there. They stop up here on the frame, but I don't want them sitting up top because if a prop comes down, that's where the motor can get hit. So I just want to run them on the inside. And then the other thing I wanted to do is tuck them underneath. I didn't want them hanging off the side of the flight board, so I ran them underneath the standoff, so back here. And now what I'll do is I've got the 3 motor, for the last motor, I've got the 3 wires right here. And now what we've got to do is cut them. We've got to solder them on, strip them, solder them on. And I figured I'd show you guys the little strategy I came up with for doing this. It seems to work okay if I can get a hold of the wire. That is, of course, it's going to be difficult, right? Oh, come on, you got to be kidding me. Stubborn. All right, there we go. So, and I'll zoom in a little too so you guys can see exactly what's going on here. All right, so I purposely left the board a little loose. I just have a couple of screws in there just kind of holding it on, but you can see the board is loose. It's not tight for a reason. I want that to be able to drop down so I can get to the solder points, the solder pads. That's what I'm after. So I'm just gonna come up and make sure the wires are kind of arranged in order. And once I'm good with that, so I've got my 3 wires coming out and they're going to be soldered to the bottom tabs right here. So here's what I've been doing. And again, it seems to work. You got to pull a little bit of tension on these, not a lot. I don't want the wires ridiculously tight. But once I find that spot where I want them, what I'm going to do is take my side cutters, and really sharp side cutters help here. And sorry, I'm going to try and make it so you can see what I'm doing. So all I'm going to do is just give it a little pull, right? I want to separate that wire. I don't want to pull it off. I just want to separate it right where I plan on doing my solder. So this takes a little bit of finesse. I won't kid you about that. It takes a little bit of a finesse. And by the way, I'm also supported. There it goes. That's what I was looking for. I'm also supporting the wire on the back, so I'm not pulling on the, I'm holding it right here. So I'm using my thumb to hold the wire, so I'm not yanking it out of the motor, okay? So now once I've got that done, I can pull the sheathing just a little bit, and I'm just giving it a twist. So I give a nice twist on the motor. And there we go. So you can, hopefully you can see what my game plan is just to use the sheathing to hold the motor down. So all I have to do now, I've already tinned the pads. So I'll add a little bit of flux on my wire so I don't get in trouble from the electronic guys. There's a little flux. And now I'm just gonna, oh, I didn't add water to my sponge. Okay, so I'll tin up my wire real quick. And now I'm just gonna hold it down on that pad and add a little more solder until that's on there nice and firm. And then the other thing I've been doing is using my handy dandy little ceramic tweezers just to kind of make sure that thing is pushed down on that pad the best I can. There we go. So I'll just, you know what, sometimes this one works better. The main thing on the really do want it on the pad. It should not be floating in the solder. It should be on that pad, secure. Okay. So now with that done, there you go. There's what I'm after. And now all I have to do is take my side cutters and just cut off the end. And I've got that on there nice and secure. And it's going to look clean. It's going to be a nice clean look. So there's one. We just have two more to go. But you see, this is why I did the other ones off camera. I didn't, you know, once you see it, you're going to be like, okay, got it. you don't need to, you know what I mean? You don't need to see this 16 times. That's how many you got for 12 times rather. You have 3 wires per motor. I mean, how many times do you need to see this to get it, right? So Vance says he's been out goofing, man, flying helicopters, and he got the helicopter bug. He's been hanging around Freddy too much, I think. Let's see. I'm going to see who's here and check the comments. So did you get your box? No? Okay. FPV's back. Howdy, everyone. Jason, hello. That's a clever little trick, right? Not that hard to do, too. Just make sure what you don't want to do. The last thing you want to do is stress your wires going to your motor. So all I'm doing is I'm using I'm pinching the fire out of that wire onto the frame and I'm holding it. That way, when I pull this shroud off, I'm not tensioning the wire to the motor. To me, that's my main objective. And then again, just give it a little twist and that's it. I'll give this a touch of flux. There we go. And then some solder. There we go. And then we'll just get that on that pad. One thing I've learned about these all-in-one ESCs is that they do transfer some heat, man. They've got some good continuity to those FETs because they'll transfer heat quick, real quick. Hey, one other thing too, I'll tell you guys to do. Listen, don't be afraid to give it a little bit of a tug. I mean, you don't want to monkey fist it, right? You don't want to be sitting here smacking your FETs around, but don't be afraid to give it a little tug. I'd rather have that come loose now than when I'm flying. You know what I mean? And if you solder it well, it's not going to come off. But even if it does, so what? This is a real easy time to fix that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to give it a little pull. You know what I mean? Just give it a little tug. Don't be afraid. I would rather, like I said, I'd rather fix this kind of stuff now than later. Okay. This one's a little bit longer, so I can hold it against the frame right there. There we go. See that? All I'm doing is separating the sheathing, and now I can use that, right? I can give that a twist, and I can use that, and that sheathing actually helps protect my fingers while I'm holding that wire down on the pad. It helps. I might have cut that one just a little long, but that's okay. I'd rather have a little long than too short, you know? That's bad. Too short is bad. That's another thing you don't want to do is cut these things too short, man. That'll ruin your day, because then you're taking it all apart, splicing wires back in. Not cool. And this one, it looks like it needs the tweezers. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. That looks good. That's down on the pad. I can see it's down on the pad. No monkey business with that. So the reason you want it down on the pad is because if you don't, you'll get resistance. It's a much cleaner connection to get that wire right down on the pad than it is to have it floating in the solder. And then when you're done, just take your iron and just kind of touch the end and take any sharp edges off, and like the British like to say, Bob's your uncle. A little solder on there, help clean that up a little. Don't hold it on too long, you'll end up loosening your solder joint. Okay, let's see. I'm still not happy with that. I want that. I don't want edges. I don't like edges. I don't like sharp edges. Okay, there we go. All right, that's it. So the motors, now the motors are done. And then the last thing I'll do is just kind of run that down the side. And then you can see the little, the motor guide wire here. That's the last bit. So once everything's good there, you just kind of give this a little twist and have fun peeling the red tape off, because that always is argumentative. No burnt fingers. Yeah, no burnt fingers. That's right. And these little ceramic, I'm still getting used to using them, to be honest with you. I'm not quite there yet, but they are helpful. I gotta admit, they are helpful. One thing they're really helpful for is that they let you get into places where you can actually see. So when it's not the grip that's the problem, it's the visibility. It's very helpful to have those little tweezers when that's the issue. This red tape, man, I swear. There we go. All right. So now all I'm going to do is just make sure that it's lined up fore and aft on the arm, and then centered left to right, inboard, outboard, I guess. And then just give it a little press. And then when I'm done, we'll lay the wires right down the side of the arm, and that's it. So the motor wires are now finished. That's all the motor wires. We'll just let those lay down on the arm. And now what I can do, I'm just going to take these off because I am finished monkeying around with the ESC. Hopefully, right? You never know. Hopefully I'm done with the ESC. Hopefully when I plug everything in, it all comes on. And I will use a smoke stopper too, by the way. That's I've got the ViFly smoke saver. And I know you can do a continuity check, but I just like that little smoke saver. It's a good little tool. And then obviously with this, you know, if you're not used to these, you got to make sure you get the pins right. So you see the pins are up top on there. You want to make sure you do the same thing here. Make sure that the holes are up top. So you don't mess that up, because if you do, you can recover, but you're going to be soldering. And then the other thing that's always a good idea too is just check the label. You know, I can see that the label says ground on the right. I don't know if the video is going to pick that up, but I can see the G right there. So I'm looking for a black wire on the end, and I have it. All right. So now we can rest this guy on there, and I'll push the screws up from the bottom a little bit, and we can just screw this on. Now, another thing, if you've never done one of these before, this isn't like putting a frame together, right? You don't wrench the devil out of these. You're not trying to compress. The last thing you want to do is take a shock absorbing system and compress it so that it can't move. So all I'm doing in this case is I'm just putting enough turns on this where I get a little bit of compression, and I want to be able to see the thread, you know, that it's through most of the nut. That's it. So you see the thread right there, it's through most of the nut. That's it. Stop right there. You might have a tendency, if you're not used to using these things, to just screw and turn and turn and turn and turn. And when you do that, you're taking all the shock absorption properties out of the bushing. So that's no good. Don't do that. Just enough. You just want it to be enough to be snug. It's not going anywhere. This is not a load-bearing device. Okay, we're almost done with this, and then we can actually get on to the fun stuff, which is adding the elements, right? Adding the key parts of the quad. I'm going to tell you guys before we get to the end, I have the GPS, but I don't have a mounting scenario worked up for it yet. So the GPS is not going to be finished tonight, at least not on the camera, but we'll get the wiring done so you can see that. All right, can you get a, let's see, can you get a pair like reverse tweezers that are always clamped unless you squeeze? That's what these are, Vance. That's what these are. They're reverse. So you see how they cross over? So when you squeeze and that opens them, when you let go, they clamp. So you see that? Hopefully, there you go. Yep. Honestly though, I wouldn't mind if these were a little stronger. I wouldn't mind if they had more clamping force, you know, but they're okay. They're okay. They're helpful. They're definitely helpful. Okay. So there we go. We got the board. Now I need to, I guess, what do you guys want to look at next? You want to do the, oh, you miss advance? Here, I'll show you again. You see? You squeeze, they're crossed over. So when you squeeze them, they open, and then you grab onto whatever it is and you let go and they clamp. Okay. All right. What do you guys want to see? We have to do the VTX. That'd be a good one to do. We got to do the GPS. We have to do the receiver. What do you guys want to see? What do you want to see first? It doesn't really matter. I think the VTX is probably a good one to do first because it's a big piece. I think that'd be a good one to do. I'm going to show you guys on this Rush, and I don't know that manufacturers ever watch my videos. I wish they would, but these guys, they sent me. Let me see if I don't know what I did with the original harness. Here, I'm going to look in the box. I just want to show you guys this because this is one of those things where sometimes you just got to be creative. Yeah, I have it. Here it is. Look at this. So this is the original harness that came with the Rush tank, right? And that thing plugs in right here. And if you're using an aft-mounted VTX and you're going to connect to your flight control board, the wires go up here. So there's not a chance, nope, not a chance. Not a chance those wires are going to make it. So Rush, what the heck, man? How about not being, I mean, you guys, for the premium you charge for these things, add some wire. You know what I'm saying? Give us a little wire so that we can do our thing. Now, I'll tell you what, who the cool kids on the block were on this was Foxeer. So Foxeer, they had their little wire. Here's their wire harness. Check this out, man. This is for the camera, right? So you're going from the camera to the flight control board. Look at that. I looked at that wire and I'm like, man, there's enough wire on the Foxeer lead for me to cut it in half and then feed the VTX and the camera and still have leftover. So that's what I did. The downside is, of course, doing that I had to solder on the bottom. I couldn't use the clip, which is okay because I think it actually makes it look cleaner anyway. So I left this all undone so you guys could see it. So I'm going to put that on there. There's the VTX it's on, and the MMCX connector is right here. So everything there is good to go. Let's just go ahead and get this done first. And I'm going to take a look. I want to take a look at the book real quick and see what the recommendation is. You can do these anywhere you want. You don't have to put this, you don't have to put these on the serial ports they say. The only thing you have to do is the video VTX line has to be on the VTX line. You can't make up your own thing on that. Okay, so the VTX line is right down. Let me see if I can get something to point with. It's a little sharper. Where's my razor? I found it. Okay, so the camera, the VTX line is right here on this thing. So the yellow one goes there. And then this thing is 7 to 36 volts in. And as you go up the side, there's 5 volts and then VB. So I'm going to use the VB port and ground and video, and there's TX for smart audio. So that's the order that I'm going to use. I'm going to use that order. So we've got VTX, the UART port, the TX port, ground, and then I'm going to skip all the way up here and use this for VBAT. There's also a 10 volt right there. Thought about using that too. I might do that instead because I'm not sure if these VBATs are filtered or not. And to be honest, I really don't want unfiltered electrical going in. So I might use, that says 10 volt right there. Let me just check that. Yeah, that's 10 volt. And you know what that's for, don't you? That's for the, there's a 10 volt, there's actually a 10 volt in the ground right here. You know, that's the other thing, they use G and G for ground. I'm not a big fan of that either. But they're showing the VTX on that VB, so maybe I'll just stick with that. Okay, let's go ahead and get to work on this. Can you rotate the VTX? You can, but it actually made it worse. When I rotated it, it puts the pads right here on the long side. I thought about that, but it actually made it worse. So putting it on this side, it actually moves the connectors further up and makes them closer. But there was no combination that I could come up with using the stock wiring that got me there. Okay, with that, I'm not going to leave the VTX on there while I solder it. I already have the VTX soldered up, so I have to leave those wires connected, but I'm going to tin these up and then I'm going to solder them and then I'll put the VTX back on its mount. Okay, so there's that. All right, we'll use VB. That's what they recommend. I'm a little cautious about that though, to be honest. Okay, so a little bit of flux and here we go. We're going to do the ground pad. And the voltage pad. And then we'll do the TX pad and the VTX pad. Remember, the VTX pad is for the yellow wire. That's always the signal wire. And that's that's feeding from the OSD, all right? Okay, there's that. Now let's start from the bottom and I'll peel the yellow wire out first and we'll do video. And make sure you guys can see that. All right, there we go. Okay, there's yellow. Now purple, this one I'm using for the data line. This is for smart audio. So if you're wondering what the purple is, that's smart audio. I'm connecting that to TX6. So you guys want to help me out later. Somebody can remember where we put the smart audio line. That's TX6. So you guys could help me out if you remember that. That'd be awesome. Give me a little assist. Because we're going to get into Betaflight, and we do that. We have to tell it what the port is. Okay, there's the power line. And then the last one is the ground line. See, this is where the tweezers come in. Now it's getting a little populated down there. So the tweezers now, they become valuable at this point, but I'm still getting used to using them. I don't think about them. I'm so used to doing it with my fingers. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm just going to check my work and make sure I have it right. So that's ground. And yep, ground is on top, VBAT is on the bottom, and then I have TX6 and the VTX. Okay, that looks correct to me. So what I was doing is just, I have the diagram pulled up, and if you want to see it, I'll show you. You know, I like to, there's a couple things that I do when I'm doing this. One of them is I like to keep the wiring diagrams handy. And let's see, I'll do, there we go. So there you go. This is what I'm looking at on my desk, right? I like to keep these handy when I go, and that lets me make sure. So I was looking right here on the wiring diagram, and this was on Pyrodrome, but there's the VTX connection, TX6 plus VB and ground, and that's what we just did with the VTX. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that in there, and I'm gonna run that underneath the battery wire. Because the reason I want it underneath the battery wire is because the battery wire moves around. So I figure by tucking it underneath, then we're not going to be constantly moving that wire. The battery wire on top can move around, but the one down on the bottom on the VTX should just be left alone. So that's just kind of tucked in there, and I'll hide this thing so you guys don't have to look at that. And there you go. So the wire's tucked underneath my battery wire, and it's running right here along the post. And, you know, I'll tell you what I forgot to do that you always kind of want to do is twist. I always always twist. So let's do that. Let's peel that off again and just give this a little bit of a twist. There's a I think it's EMF. I think that's the objective by twisting the wires, is it helps prevent EMF, which will interfere with the video signal. I believe that's what it is. But ever since my earliest days flying FPV, the people that I've associated with have always been like, twist your wires, twist. So I've always twisted them. That was the advice. Okay, so that's that. Now all I need to do is get out the nylon nuts for the VTX, and that should be that. VTX should be done now. And the kit, by the way, was really good. They gave plenty of nylon nuts for me to put 4 underneath the VTX and then 4 on top of the VTX. And I think I also had I think I had another 4 left or something like that. So the kit was really good about that. I was impressed. I'm looking for my my sockets that must not be handy. So I was printing 3D printing, and when I first got my printer, I installed an aftermarket fan duct, because that was like, you know, geek thing to do. And so I installed it, and I printed it out of PLA, because when I first got started, that's what I used, was PLA. That's all I used. And it wore out. It finally gave up. That thing is always under heat. You know, the hot end is near it all the time, and yeah, it finally gave up and broke. All right, come on, guys. 25 watching, 10 likes. Just show the appreciation for all this hard work. Yeah, that's awesome, Vance. Thanks for doing the like whip duties, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so there we go. We have VTX. If in case you're wondering, this little connector right here is for a DJI connection, and they actually give you the cable for that too in the kit. So I wasn't expecting that. This was for the Success. Or no, not the Success. I'm sorry, the SkyStars board, the SkyStars F7. They gave the DJI connector for it. That's what that is. That goes on the DJI unit, and that one goes directly into the board. So if you want to use DJI with this one, it's already set up to do it. Okay. And I just noticed that my soldering job on my capacitor is a little weak, so I'm going to fix that right now. It looks like the solder kind of popped loose on me. That's okay. Like I said, man, these are things you want to know now, not when you're flying. All right. Nope. Still not sticking. Wow, look at that. Stubborn. There we go. I felt you melt that time. Felt it. No, didn't. Look at that. What the heck? Wow. I told you, heat sink. This poor desk pad that I have is just getting abused to death. Yeah, look at that, man. Wow, terrible soldering work. See, but that's good. Again, my attitude is I'd really rather find that now than when I'm in the air. Not that the capacitor, you know, is necessary for flight. It's not. But you don't want to jolt your electronics by hitting them real hard with electricity, and that's what the capacitor does. It stops that. It's got polarity, so make sure you get that right. You know what? I'm going to put another blob on here. Yeah, this thing is definitely like soldering. It reminds me almost of soldering on batteries. It's like a great big heat sink, to be honest. It is like a great big heat sink. Okay. All right. I think that's on there now. See what kind of, yep, that's gonna, I need a new one of these desk pads anyway, so that's all right. Okay. Yeah, great. That feels better. All right, that's that. Now let's do, I guess we could do the, we could do the receiver. The satellite's probably near the end. So yeah, I guess the receiver, that makes sense. In case you're wondering, they have a really neat system on these where you have on the IFLIGHT, this is kind of like an IFLIGHT thing. These two holes go over the back standoffs and the receiver just slides right in there. It's really very convenient because it lets you park the receiver kind of out of the way of everything, and it's tidy. I like tidy, so that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect my MMCX connector to the rush tank. Just pop that in, and then real key thing with these is don't crimp them. Don't bend these. An arc is okay. Just no sharp angles. That's the point. All right. Oh, and before I do that, I'm gonna put the let's go ahead and beat this to the punch. I've got my Immortal T antenna, so I'm gonna put that in first, and then I always get kind of sketchy feeding these things, but it's better to put these in when these little adapters are off the quad than on, because you get a lot more flexibility. And of course I messed up and didn't feed it through the hole like a knucklehead. You gotta feed the lead right here. Oops, sorry. You gotta feed the lead right there through the hole, and then so you gotta get all three of them. And when that's in there, that's really in there good. That's not gonna go anywhere. So there's the Immortal T. And that's actually a nice print design too. Very simple Immortal T antenna holder. And that just goes on these back two standoffs and goes all the way down. And I'll show you guys what to do about these wires. In fact, I'm going to zoom out. I don't think we need to be quite that close right now. I'll zoom out just a little bit. So I'll show you what to do about the wires in a little bit. But there you go. There's the Immortal T in place. And then with that done, we can go ahead and lay this in. Now I'm going to have to figure out the wiring. I don't know what I'm going to do about the wiring yet, but again, with these antenna wires, the last thing you want is a 90-degree bend. So gentle arcs are okay, but you don't want hard, sharp corners. That's the main thing. Okay, so I think we're okay with that for now. I'm just going to set that aside, and we'll pull the crossfire into view, and I'm going to pull off the whisker antenna real quick. Be gentle. They use this I don't know, elephant snot or whatever this stuff is called. I don't use those antennas very often. I've got a stack of those things, but I don't really use them. All right, let's see if I can get the camera to cooperate and play nice. You gonna play nice? You gonna do it? You gonna focus? It's not gonna focus, is it? Nope. I think it's too much. I have a better idea. Hold on. I know what to do. Hold on a minute. All right, let's see. I'm gonna, instead of zooming, I'm physically moving the camera closer. Okay, there we go. So now we've got our TBS crossfire. Now, if you don't know crossfire, it's ground, hot, and then T and R. So T and R, and you got to remember that. QRST, yeah, it's backwards. So T and R, you got to remember that when you solder it to the board, because you need to flip the T and R as it goes to the board. So with that in mind, I've got some wires that came with the crossfire, and what I'm going to do is we're just going to tin this real quick and get some flux on there. And you're supposed to tin the wires. I've gotten grief for this too, for not tinning the wires, because the thing is that they say the wires come from wherever they come from with bad solder. So it makes sense to tin it with the correct solder, you know, the solder that you're using. So I've actually caught grief for that. Although these are such small wires and the solder puddles are so big that it's almost and you know what, this is rosin core solder too, so I don't want to hear it. If you're going to tell me that I should tin the or solder or flux the wires, I don't want to hear it. Save it. I don't want to hear it. I've got rosin core solder. It's good enough. It'll be fine. So there, that's completely immersed in solder, in my solder now, my Kester solder. So is that one. And And so is this one. Completely immersed. It's soaked in. All right. Now, with that done, I'm just going to clean this off and put a little... I said clean it off. I need to get my sponge. I need to get that sponge wet. Okay, now I'm just going to hit this real quick on those pads. And there we go. So those are tinned. And now all we have to do is connect our wires. So remember what I said. The real easy, my memory aid for this is that the ground matches up with the antenna, and the ground is also square. The ground is also square. So that's all you have to remember, is the ground is square and it matches up with it's across from the antenna. Okay, so there's one, and I'm using a little piece of double-sided tape underneath the receiver. 2 reasons: that it's soft and pliable, so it won't scratch up or knock off resistors. And then below that, I have a coaster. So the coaster I just use to absorb heat. So there's one. And then I know some people have a wiring schematic they may like to use. I don't. So I'm just going to put yellow. Yellow for the T. Oops, my hand moved around on that one. I don't like that. Well, it's actually okay. But I really don't like it when I do that. There we go. Okay, and one more. We've got the R. This is the receive line. And we'll just pop that guy. Pop that on there. And again, hey, listen, man, you know, you don't want to monkey fist this stuff, but pull on it. Don't be afraid to give it a little tug. I'd rather have this come off, just like that capacitor. I'd rather have it come off now than when I'm flying. You know what I mean? And look at it too. Don't, you know, just because it's on there, don't think you got it right. Make sure that those wires are down on the board. That yellow one, you know what? I'm not satisfied with that yellow one, to be honest with you. I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to hit that again. I think the yellow one is sitting too high. So I'm going to hit it just one more time. There we go. Now that's better. Yeah, that was sitting too high. I don't like that. Okay. I think we're good on that now. Now we can take a look at the quad and figure out where exactly this is going to go. I've got another little pro tip I want to show you guys real quick. So this one, let me zoom out. Well, now, yeah, I can zoom out still. Okay, so a little pro tip. On these manuals, this is just a piece of paper, but I'll tell you one thing. When you got screw sizes that are M4, that's obvious, or M2 rather, because they're real tiny. But the M3 by 10, M3 by 18, those are pretty obvious, but these are less obvious. The M3 by 6 and 8s, and even the 10s and 8s, those get kind of a little confusing. So these things are to scale. If you didn't know that, this is to scale. So when you get a big bag of hardware, you can take the screws out and match them up on here to make sure you have them all grouped correctly. So just throwing that out, if you didn't know that, it's an option. If you're not comfortable like isolating your screw sizes. So just throwing that out there. Okay. Let me just check the comments real quick. I know, Dave, I know I said 2130, but I corrected myself. I did correct myself right at the end in the text. I did say 2130 though. Shame on me. I'm bad. Let's see. On the field, hold up, everybody. My quad lost a contact lens. That's funny. Now it went down. Good. Lord Wolf FPV, good job. That thing is small. Yeah, it doesn't get hot. I'm not sure. What doesn't get hot? The capacitor, or what are you asking about? I'm not sure. I was looking down. I didn't see what the context was. Hey homies, just got done an out-of-town job. Noticed the stream was live. Glad I could catch part of it. Well, Steadfast RC, glad you could make it, man. Awesome. Soldering skills. Yeah, I do a lot. Hey brother, you got a manual? That'd be helpful. Yeah, right. A manual. Come on. You guys. Funny. Manuals. I got your manual. It's right here on this wiring diagram here. I'm going to pop the wiring diagram up so you can see. All right. Okay. So the TBS VTX. Nope. That's not us. We're going this way. Yeah, there it is. So here's what they recommend. And again, you don't have to do this, but I'll do it, you know, because why not? You know, what else? I mean, what else am I going to do? But they recommend using these pads right here. And that is, so you've got, I can't even see it on their thing, 5 volts and ground, and then TX2 and RX2. Okay. So these diagrams are a little screwy. What they're trying to say is that you've got, that's 5 volts. Yep. Next to the hole, that's 5 volts. So this little, here, I'm going to zoom in again. I'm going to zoom in, let you guys get a good look at this. Because if you're not used to doing this, this can get you. You got to be careful. So you see this little grid of text right here that says 5 volt, then ground, and then TX2 and RX2. What there's these overlay on this group of 4. So the 5 volt goes here, the ground goes here, the TX2 goes here, the RX2 goes here. That's what they're saying. And you can see that in the diagram on the left, right? You can see fortunately they color the wires correctly. So they're showing you 5 volts right there, and they're showing you ground right there. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and use that. Why not? So what I am going to do though, I'm going to take this little nut off first, because I don't want to burn it. I don't want to hit it with my soldering iron. And by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm using a big soldering iron. And the reason for that is because I was doing wiring underneath. So I should be switching to something much smaller, but what the heck. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm going to put the web thing away so you guys can see what I'm going to do here. And let's just hide that. There we go. Okay. So the main thing I want to do is make sure I have enough wire. And when I twist this, it'll use some of it, but that's going to be close. Actually, that's actually going to be kind of close, but it's enough. It'll work out. So it'll work out. That'll be just enough. So here's what I'm going to do. Well, I may as well get to it. Let's just strip this off. So red. Let me check comments while I'm doing this mindless stuff. Soldering up whoop boards is pretty hard, but so far I've made it happen. Yeah, steadfast. I was talking to one of the guys about Robert said those whoop boards give you no mercy. He did mention that to me. He said no mercy on those whoop boards. All right, almost done. Just got to get the black one. When in Rome, yes, you are. Big old chisels. Yeah, I am, man. That's a big tip. I should be using something smaller. In fact, I'll tell you what, after I do this one, I'll switch to something smaller, because I don't want to be accused of giving a bad example. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I know I can get away with it. But it is a bad example. You should not be soldering these little, because you can damage these things, man. That thing, that chisel tip, boy, that thing, it moves some heat, man. I'm not lying. That thing moves some heat. I get a chuckle out of that with my big old Hacko iron when I need to get something going. That thing makes me laugh. Okay, let's tin these up. Hey, by the way, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, man, take a look at this. I've mentioned it in other videos, but in case you haven't caught all my material, this Kester solder, you can get it on Amazon. I love this stuff. It is the whip. It is the whip. This stuff is really good. So if you need good solder, I stumbled onto this when I ran out of my Radio Shack, and a friend of mine in Discord said, hey, try this stuff out. And I did, and man, I love it. I'm so glad I found it. Well, I didn't find it, but I'm so glad I bought it and used it based on my friend's recommendation. So it's good stuff, man. I love Kester solder. Very good stuff. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna put, yeah, I'll tell you what's gonna happen in about, right after I'm done getting this connected, we're gonna take 3, and I'm gonna go get some water on my sponge and change this tip out. But for now, I'm just gonna put a little solder on my iron, and I'm just gonna hit these pads. There's 2. Don't mess around with these big tips on there too long, man. You can definitely mess up a board. if you hang out there too long, you can definitely mess up a board. No two ways around it. All right, let's see, back to the diagram, because I've covered everything up now. All right, so red, oops. Let's see, can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so red is going to go here, black here, and then T is inside. So that is TX2. That means it's got to get the RX lead, which is white. So white goes in and yellow goes out. So RX is out, and that's the T wire, so that's yellow. Oh wait, I said that backwards. Yellow is man, I can't tell you. So ground, hot, R, and T. So R is yellow. That means it's got to go inboard. And white is QRST. No, I did it backwards again. See what I mean? It's T. Yellow is T. So that means it goes to R on the board, which is outboard. So yellow is outboard, white's inboard. All right. You guys remember that. I'll keep me honest. All right. Let's see. Red. And this is another thing. These little leads, they just need to be very tiny. And I never cut them over the board either. If you need to trim one of these, don't do it over the board. Just hold it off the board. There you go. Do it somewhere else. Don't do it over the board. Little tiny shavings will get you. They'll get stuck somewhere and all of a sudden you'll arc something. That was not good enough. I felt it. I felt the solder melt, but the wire came up. There we go. Now it's on there. See, that's where these are useful, is doing that kind of thing, holding them down like that. That's very useful. Okay, so that's red. And here's black. You know, I just realized I don't like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to go the other way. I want the wires inboard. I don't want them pulling out. I want them pulling in. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to do. So I'll start with red again though, because I think that's still the best way to go. These guys. There we go. So that's going to pull in instead of out. And then the overlap is a little easier to see. So now I can see very clearly if I have an issue with continuity, I can see it. So there we go. All right. Now, what did I say it was? This chat window's in my way. All right. So the first wire, that's going to be T, QRST. So this is T. That means it's got to go to R on the board, which is outbound. Okay. Well, then that means white should go to T. That's R. And that's going to go to T. So that T is inboard. Okay, that makes sense. So I'll do the inboard one first, and I got to take a little... I can't tell you, man. I get stuck on this. You have to stop and think about it. The GPS does the same thing. I get it on the GPS too. Okay. So here we go. Let's just get that right on there. Perfect. And that's too long too. Man, these things need to be just really tiny. Really tiny. All right. There we go. Yeah, that's not enough. I need downward pressure. So here come the ceramic tweezers. Nope. Fail. Okay. I'm still not good enough with those tweezers. All right, I'm looking for continuity. I want to make sure yellow's not touching white and the black's not touching red. And look at that, man. The red one came off. Son of a gun. Man. if I have to redo this whole thing. Because the red one's the worst one. That's the worst one. See, this is what I get for using a big chisel tip. That's my fault. I said I could get away with it. Being a wise guy. Okay. I made it. I think I made it. All right. I'll tell you what. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and give this a twist. Bro, put it. I know. I'm going to. I know. I'm turning it off right now. I knew someone was going to get me. I got to go get the sponge. Yeah, I got to wet the sponge. I'm going to give this thing a twist, wet the sponge, and you guys let's just take a minute. I'm going to let that cool off for a minute. I'll get a pair of pliers and pull that thing off. I know it needed to be shorter. I was being a smartass. What can I say? All right. The other thing too about these things, I learned this by watching one of the binding flies that I got. It was actually really clever. So they put the MMX on there, and then, which I hate these little pins because I'm always worried I'm not going to get it right. And if you don't get it right, then you're like, did I bend that little sucker? And if you bend that thing, you're done, man. It's over if you bend it. So you got to be very careful putting these on. I just kind of like to give them a little rotate, and that kind of seems to help them settle onto the housing. There we go. There we go. So anyway, the little tip that I got was rather than use, I think I may have twisted that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that maybe work perfectly. But rather than have one in one side and one out the other, just put them both out in one side. So the idea then is when you put this in the holder, you just shrink wrap. You put the shrink wrap on, and it holds everything together from here. I'm going to take a couple of twists out of this. So unfortunately, I have to pull this antenna off, but I'm going to take a couple of little twists out of this because I don't want this to bind on anything. So keep in mind, twisting is good, but don't, I'd rather take a few twists out than have my receiver wires taut. You know what I mean? I'd rather have just a little bit of slack. Not a lot, just a little. But there we go. I think that's it. So, yep, that's going to lay in there real nice, just like that, right next to it. Okay, so let's do that. Let's take a couple minutes. I don't really have like a holding screen. Let me bring this thing up and see if I can. Let me see if I can bring up a text something. Break timer. That work? Hey, how about that? Let's do let's just do like, I don't know, 3 minutes. We don't need much. That work? How about that? It worked. How about that? Okay, cool. Hold on. Let me add one more text. I do this because if someone comes in the middle of the video and I'm not talking, they're gonna be like, what's going on here? So let me just do a station break. There we go. Station break. Oof, that's big. All right, there we go. Station break. We'll come back. I'm gonna stop this or restart it. Go grab a smoke, get a drink, and stretch your legs. We'll come back and get started on it in just a couple minutes. All right, let's see. I was just cleaning up the workspace just a little bit. Maybe we can put those away now, and we'll go back to the big camera. All right, so next up, I think the GPS got to be next up, right? Again, remember, I don't have anywhere to park this, so nowhere to put the GPS tonight, but we will connect it and make sure we have it configured. You know, we'll make sure we do that. And then I also probably need to go ahead and shrink wrap this too, because I don't want that knocking around. So I'm just going to go ahead and shrink wrap this receiver, and I will back this out a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Not soldering, so that gives a little bit of a better view. There, perfect. Okay, so we'll just pop this on. This is the stuff that comes with the receiver. And see what I mean about this is the trick that I picked up, is that you have the wires and the antenna both coming out the same direction. And the reason, if you don't know, the reason that's nice is because you want the shrink tubing can help hold that antenna, that MMCX connector, down on the receiver. And I personally, I like that. I think that's kind of important. So I do approve of that scenario. So we'll just cut a little bit off there, and we'll go ahead and hit it. Okay, that's good. It's gonna be hot. How many of you guys have fallen for that trick? Oh, it's just heat shrink. How bad can it be? This stuff gets hot. Burn a hole right through your fingertips. And then when that's done, I just like to cut the tip off like that, because it kind of pinches it closed a little bit, and it also makes it a little easier to do what I'm about to do. So there we go. Now that's nice and clean, and as long as I soldered it well on the receiver, we shouldn't have any problems. And there you go. That's nice. I mean, you know, that's about as clean as you can do it. I can't see any way to improve on that. So that's a nice neat install. Looks good. So just to give you a look at what's going on the side, we've got our Immortal T antenna wire laying right on top of the VTX wire. The VTX comes out the back, and we've got our TBS crossfire soldered to 2, right, on the board. Yep, TX2. And we've got our, oh, what is that? That is the VTX, and that is on, you guys remember? Anybody remember? Bueller? That's on 6. That's on TX6 right there. So 2 and 6. Okay. All right, I guess it's time for the GPS. So I use the, I got another 880, and these things are huge, man. These are big compared to the 220s. These things are pretty big, but they give you a lot of wires, so that's good. And the reason I did it was because I was playing around with iNav, and I found out that in order to use the iNav modes, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this one because I don't use these pins. Actually, you know what? I might be able to use those. I think this time I'm gonna use this one. So look what I mean. They give you, like, look at all these harnesses. They're all the same. This is just going to like an Arduino board, and this one goes to, I guess maybe it would go into one of these plugs. Some boards have the right plugs, but so one for that would actually be a good one to cut off too, because the cable is flat in there together. But yeah, and I can't use that anyway, so I might use that. And anyway, the reason I mention that is because you can use, these are good probes. You can use these on things like servos and stuff. So it might be worth saving these. But yeah, it's nice that they give you a lot of extra wire. Now I've got to bring up the wiring diagram for this, because I can tell you right now, the people who make these GPSs have zero respect for color coding. None. They don't care at all. Black is hot. Red is ground. Yeah, they have no respect for color convention when it comes to the wiring diagrams on these things. I'm pretty sure yellow is ground, And I'm pretty sure on this one, gray over here is hot. So yeah, let's take a look. I have to bring up the diagram. So let's see. I got this at Amazon, so I'll go back to where I got it and use their diagram. So let's see here. All right, the way this works, okay, how about that? The first one, yellow, is SDA. The inboard is black, that's ground. How about that? And then TX is number 3, that's white, and then green, and then I'll be darned, red. I'll be darned. They use the right color voltage on this. So at least black and red are correct. The rest are arbitrary. I'll be darned. I think that's probably the first time I've ever seen that. All right, now I got to find out where these get soldered to. So the GPS, where are you? Where do they recommend? The pins are, where are the GPS? Where does it go? Nope. Nope. Sorry guys, give me just a minute. I'm looking in the diagram. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay. So the GPS goes opposite. It goes over here. Okay. Got it. So let's see. The first thing we're going to do is clip this off, clip this stuff off. And I don't know how long to make this. I think I'm just going to leave it kind of long. Dang it. Yeah, that's annoying. I don't know how long to make that. I think kind of long is probably good. I think kind of long is probably good because I expect the GPS will probably wind up out here. That's what I expect. So I don't want to cut it too short. So I think probably about like that. That's probably good enough. Oh, we also got to do the camera. I forgot about that. Got to do the camera. Let's solder that together. Okay. So GPS. You know, I have one of those. I have a Mako tool that you normally can. It's a plier and you squeeze it and it strips the ends off on a multi-wire like this. The problem I've always had with it is it always damages the sheathing up front of where you cut it. That's always been the problem I've had with that thing. It's a cool tool though, because if the wire can take it, it'll strip all of them at one time. Constant length, that kind of deal, you know. Kind of cool. All I'm doing is I'm just taking the ends off these wires so I can tin them. And then we'll tin the board and then we'll get this connected. Anyway, yeah, so back to the only reason I'm using the compass is because I do want to try iNav. People have been asking me to do an iNav setup, so I kind of want to. And in order to use all the features in iNav, you have to have a compass for a quad. They want the compass. It's not like the airplanes. The airplanes will do it because they're always moving forward. You know what I mean? You know what? The camera goes there too. So the camera, this one's the camera right there. That's camera. And then ground on the outboard and 10 volt on the inboard. So we're going to use ground. I may as well just tin those while I'm in there. So 10 volt in, we'll use 10 volts for the camera. No reason, if you're wondering about that, the reason I use more voltage, it's got a 10 volt and a 5 volt. And the reason I'll go ahead and use the higher voltage is because less amps. For everything else being the same, it's less amps. All right, let's see. Props off. Hey, you made it. Don Lads, we all do it. It's a pain to heat up and forget to change. Yeah, don't over twist. That's for sure. Don't over twist it. Just a couple. Betaflight or EmuFlight. I haven't tried is it EmuFlight or EmuFlight? I haven't tried that yet. Zip tie on the cap. I don't know. I don't think so. I'll zip tie the mains for sure, but I think the cap will be okay. I'm not too worried about the cap. I'll leave that alone. Always save your spare wires in the tin they come in handy. Yeah, I know. The only problem with saving them in the tin they come with is then you got to save the tins. What I started doing instead of that was I started making a specialty wires box. So I have a special box out in the garage for specialty wires. And it's all these little oddball connections because, I mean, at some point, I can't remember what the box, what came in what box anyway. So even though the box has a label, I don't remember it, you know? So I have a specialty wires box. Yep. That's how I do it. So all these little extra bonus wires, especially like the DJI stuff that you might want later, that's very proprietary. These definitely go in the specialty wires box. Yep, that's always the plan. Okay, time to stop babbling and start working. So let's get this thing. Yeah, that's a much better tip for this kind of work. This is a small chisel. This is one of my favorite ones for this kind of work. It's just a real small chisel. You hit the pad with that thing and a little bit of solder. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Beautiful thing. Just tinning the wires real quick, and then we'll clean that off, and we'll tin these pads. Okay, so we got 10 volts there for the camera. And then we've got ground. I'll tell you what, man, this TBS flux smells. Man, I bridged it. Too much. They're both ground though, so it doesn't really matter. There, I got it. Okay, so there's that. So we got ground. This one's camera. So that's good right there. And then all the rest of these are all for the GPS. And I got to double up on the ground. So the GPS ground is going to have to go on with the VTX ground, which is fine. Or there's another ground up there I could use. Okay, those are all tinned up. I'll zoom in, let you guys get a closer look at the work there. Sorry about that. Oh, you got a wire box with different sections. Yeah, you know, that's one of those things I kind of need to do. I need to get myself out in my garage and do an organization, man. My organization in my garage with my RC stuff just needs some work. I mean, everything's kind of put away, but it's just not great. I need to do some work. All right, let's see here. All right, pin number 1. So we'll start with pin number 1. That's yellow. That one is SDA. So there's no reversing these. SDA goes to SDA, and oh, that's convenient. SDA is on the top. How about that? Okay, so we'll do that first. SDA right up there on the top. Perfect. Yay. That'd be nice if they all work. Nope, not going to work that way. Of course not. So, you know, before I go any further, and I have to separate these two windows because before I go any further, I need to see, yeah, they're completely on the opposite side. It figures. So that means I have to open these up just a little. Unfortunately, that would have been cool, but yeah, they got to be opened up. So let's see. SDA and SCL, those are the two outers, so we'll do those first. That's fine. SDA is yellow. And what do I want to use here? I want to use that? No. I think I'll use this. No, I think I'll use my finger. Back to the finger. All right, let's see here. Okay, there's SCA. And let's see. The next one is SCL, and SCL is pin number 6. That's the last one. Okay, fine. I do not have enough solder on that pad. That one didn't tin well. There's not enough there. That's better. If I could stop bridging them, that would be even better yet. There we go. Okay. SCL. Okay, there's SCL. Now, RX and TX, these do switch. So let's see. RX and TX are pins number 3 and 4. So pin number 3, the black is ground. So the next one, white, that's next to ground. So that's pin number 3. That is TX. So that has to go to RX on the board. Oh, perfect. That is the next one in line. So got lucky. Got lucky. Of course, now the ground is crossed over, right? But that's okay. This is not too bad. Any of you guys flown with iNav on a quad yet? I know Elias does it. I know Drone Pilot does it. I don't hear too many people talking about it though. Okay, there's TX. So, all right. So number 4, that's 1, 2, that's green. So green is number 4. That's RX. That has to go to TX. Okay, perfect. That looks right. That looks right. We'll get green. We'll go on TX. Perfect. And then, okay, so 3 to 5.5. And there's 5 volt right there for ground or red. So that will work. Wow, this is actually working out. I gotta see, did I don't think I bridged them. I'll show you guys another pro tip. Let me bring the comments up too, see if I missed anything. Let's see. Another little pro tip I'll show you guys. When you gotta look and take a really close look, these cameras, take a picture. So get a good zoom, right? Or good, it doesn't have to be zoomed in like crazy, just get a good focus. So once you've done that, take a picture. And then bring the picture in and you can zoom that sucker way. I mean, look at that. You know, I can't see that with my eyes. I don't know about you guys, but I can't see that with my eyes. So I have to zoom way in. So that helps a lot. All right. So there we go. That's that. Let's see. There's a ground right here. I don't see any reason to try and double up on the VTX. And it's on that end of the connection anyway. I may as well just use it. And then we'll put the camera right next to it. So we'll just do that. So I'm going to just get a little more on that because I wasn't planning on using that one, but it'll work. Ground is common. Okay. So there we go. Now, the main thing I want to check is voltage. Make sure the voltage is right. So green, I've got a ground, and then I need to make sure that I have power next to that. Yeah, that is 5 volt right next to that ground. Okay. If we have VB plus ground and then 5 volt, VB plus ground. Okay, that's correct. And I know that's a ground. All right, so I think that's good. There's the GPS. I'll zoom back out a little bit. Again, the GPS isn't going to be done tonight, but at least it's soldered on and we can configure it in Betaflight. And then I think the last piece of equipment is the camera. And this should be real easy. This is just 3 little wires. So all we have to do, the camera's right here, and I've already got the harness kind of pre-configured and cut. So we'll just do a quick little connection. I've got ground, and then I got to look and see where hot is. For the camera. The camera. Okay. Oh, that's the inboard. 10 volt is inboard. Okay. So 10 volt. Wait a minute there. Oh, I'm glad I saw that. That is not ground. Ground is it's outboard. That's 5 volts. That's 5 volts. I hooked my ground up to 5 volts. What a dumbass. Okay. Well, at least I caught it. Okay, now it's on ground. Ground is outboard. This is one of those ones where they laid them out where they had 4 and the ground, I thought the label was next to the pad and it wasn't. Ground is outboard. So ground is on the outboard. Okay, so that works. So on this one we do ground on the outboard, 10 volts on the inboard, and the camera. Boy, I just kind of covered myself up a little, I think. Yeah, the camera's right there. I'm going to take the GPS ground off for the moment. Because that will just yeah, there's the camera pad. That'll make getting the camera pad a lot easier. So I'll zoom in, let you guys see what I'm dealing with here. Okay, there's what I'm dealing with. The camera pad is outboard. That's outboard. It's right there. That's the camera pad. That's a ground. That's a ground. They're both grounds. It's okay if they're bridged. And this one is 10 volts, and that's where I want to put my camera wire. So that's the way that needs to be. Okay, so we'll do... I'm going to do the I'll do the voltage first, because that's going to be the hardest one to get to. That's whenever I solder this stuff up, I'm looking for the hardest thing to get to first. Get that one knocked out, and then the others get a little, you know, they're a little easier. So there is red. There's one ground. And let's just, while we're here, let's go ahead and stick that GPS ground through there and get that thing wired up to ground real quick. There we go. Those are both on ground. And now all that's left is the camera. The camera lead, man, that's getting small in there. It's too long. I don't like how long that one is. I gotta cut a little bit off. Doesn't need much. There's no current on this. It's just a signal wire, so it doesn't need much. I'd rather have it a little bit short and on the pad than too long and touching something it shouldn't. I'm not real happy with that, but it'll do. It's not, you know what? It won't do. I don't like it. So off it comes. And we'll do it again. That's better. All right, now that's on there for sure. Okay, so the camera lead, now that's done. And this just runs over here. Now this little second lead, if you're wondering about this is for the joystick. So if you have a joystick, you can plug it in. I think that's actually kind of cool that they leave a little jumper on there like that. So that's good. That's good. Nighthawk says no LEDs. This actually supports LEDs. If you look on the corners right here, those are LED supports. So if you wanted to do them, you could. I've got some. Maybe I'll stick them on there. I thought about it, but you know, on a live build, I don't know if there's interest in it. Maybe I don't know. You guys want to see LEDs? I think I have some somewhere. I don't know if we'll do them tonight, but we could definitely make that another video where I'll say let's do LEDs. You know, we can do that. You're just going to be stubborn, huh? It doesn't want to plug in. I really didn't want to take the camera off, but no, I really don't want to take that camera off. I'd rather get this thing just to plug in. Come on now. Play nice. Get in there. There we go. There we go. All right, that's in there. So there's the camera. All right, I think that's it. So we got the camera. We got our camera. All zoomed in. You guys are like, what? I can't see anything. Okay. Let's see. Nighthawk. Tip, always clean up your tip when soldering small pads. Oh yeah, I'm constantly hitting. Oh, that's dirty. But I am constantly. That tip is clean, man. Normally. Okay. I'm gonna just set that in there. The GPS is just gonna kind of flop around on the side for a little bit. I think we're done. I think everything's done that needs to be done. So here's what I'm gonna do for the moment. I'm just gonna put this on. I'm not gonna screw it all down tight. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not even going to bother with that right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the short saver and we're going to plug that in. And if that works, then we'll plug it into Betaflight and start taking a look. But I'll tell you what, this would be a great stopping point because I have to get this desk cleaned up. I can't live with messy, so I'm at a good place where I think it'd be a good idea to clean up the desk a little bit. So why don't we do that? Why don't we take a smoke break? You guys take a drink, smoke, whatever, get up, walk around. I'm gonna put this workspace back on and we'll put the break thing on. And let's just take a couple minutes. I'll get the desk cleaned up and ready to go again. And we'll come back and get back to work on this. So there we go. There's, oh, come on, you can, there it goes. 4-minute timer. Let's do that. Let me get cleaned up and we'll come back and we'll get into Betaflight and the radio. All right, that was perfect timing. Okay, so we'll go back to the big camera, and I got my desk is cleaned up a little bit. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys something if you don't know it with TBS. TBS receivers, probably, you know, I got to adjust this camera again because we're not soldering. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of a view. So let me make that adjustment real quick. That's a physical camera adjustment versus doing a zoom. So yeah, that's right. Perfect. I had it sitting right here. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Do not forget the damn antenna. I've done that. You guys make sure you put all your antennas need to be on for anything that transmits. So don't forget that. TBS isn't so bad, but you know, it's on anyway. But yeah, definitely make sure your antenna's on. Good call. June Loke 619, man. He gets the gold star for the day because I have done that. But before we go any further, here's what we want to do. I want to take my radio and I'm going to I have a template. All right. I always use a template for these things because you technically, if you use the same receiver number, you don't even need to change. You don't even need to change models. So I'm going to go into model select, but I do use a template, and I don't really need to, but I'm going to use the template and do a copy, and we're going to duplicate this, and under template, I'll select that. And if you give me just a moment, I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it it's the Titan. So we'll give it the name Titan. QRSTA. Now the reason we're doing this is because on the very first boot of a Crossfire receiver, it will bind automatically with the radio. If you go into Agent Light, and you tell it to bind, it'll bind. So first thing I got to do is go into General, and I want to set my max power down to 25 watts because when I'm on a headset, this thing blows out my headset. So that's good. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to take the smoke saver, and yep, got the smoke stopper handy. I can't even, you know, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I know you can do a continuity test. I get it. But these things are so handy. It's $11. And when you plug it in, you get that little yellow light. This is a IFLIGHT product, and it has XT60 and XT30. You plug it in, you get the little yellow light. You plug it into your work thing, you know, whatever your load is. And when you hit the button, what'll happen is everything's gonna light up, and you know, we'll be happy, or it'll instantly cut off power. So I can't even tell you. June Loco. Okay, man, thanks. That's helpful. Thanks for sharing. But I can't even tell you how nice this. It's just a peace of mind because this will instantly cut off power and prevent short circuit from damaging gear on board. So, you know, we have a lot going on here. We have a camera, a VTX, GPS, ESCs that are all soldered on, the ESC board to the flight controller, the capacitor. You know, there's a lot happening. So it's easy to make a mistake, and hopefully I don't have one. Hopefully I did my work okay, and we'll be clean to go. But when I hit go, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to go or it's going to cut off. So I know it won't catch every short, but it's like an insurance policy, right? Insurance doesn't pay on everything, but it's better than it's better than going without it. Well, here we go. All right. Well, so far everything looks good. Although I saw an amp condition. So we got a red and an orange. I kind of wonder what that means. I have to read that. Red, short or overcurrent. So it could be overcurrent. I don't think it's a short, but I'm going to try it again and we'll see. I'm just going to power it up. I hope it's not if it's an overcurrent, man, I'm going to end the video and go hunt it because I don't think you guys want to see that. So I'll turn it on again. Yeah, it cut off. So awesome. Well, there you go. There's something happening. It's probably an overcurrent. That's going to be my guess. Probably an overcurrent. And though that kind of sucks because that has to be hunted. You can't, yeah, ruh-roh Shaggy. Yeah, you can't ignore that stuff, right? You definitely cannot ignore that. So I think if I were to hazard a guess, first I'm gonna do is check my connections. I want to check my ESC connections first because they were the hardest. So what I'm going to do, I guess we can do a little troubleshooting. I hope this isn't it. I hope it's something easy. Because if not, the only real option I have is to start taking everything off and then applying it. Applying it one by one. That's the only real option. So let's see. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If you guys want to troubleshoot, let's troubleshoot. Here's the first thing I'm going to do, because this is the easiest thing to do. And that's going to be to take the flight controller off. So if I take the flight controller off, in fact, all I really need to do is pop the main lead off. And that no longer powers the board or anything on it. Okay? So no power to the flight controller now. So everything that I have right now on the flight controller is disconnected. So what will happen is this will tell us if we have something with the ESC or not, right? That's the first thing that's going to happen. So we may as well start. If you guys want to see it, let's do it. All right, we'll plug this in. And I've got my yellow button. I'm going to hit go. Okay. The good news with that is that we don't have anything on the ESC that's problematic. All right. So what that tells me is the ESC is okay and the wires connecting to the ESC, at least for now, are okay. But I haven't applied any current to these pads. So but at least for now, we know that's not the problem. So let's kill power. And now we have to, unfortunately, take stuff off. So if we have to take stuff off, I'm going to do the easy stuff first. And we'll go ahead and take the GPS. I'll take the GPS off. And I'll take the camera off. We'll just take those guys off. They're right here. Easy to get to. Let's get them off the board. And I'm going to check. I do have it. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this flux on here. And I'm going to take a little bit of the solder off these pads just to make sure I don't have something going on here that I can't see. All right. So the pads are cleaned up. Now what I can do is I've taken the camera off and the GPS off. All right. GPS had a lot of wires. Camera had a couple. They were all tucked into the corner down there. So those are off now. I'm just looking to make sure I don't have anything bridged. Okay, so camera's disconnected, GPS is off. Let's go ahead and plug this thing back in. And we'll put the flight board back on. All right. And we'll connect the board, the smoke saver, and we'll try it. We'll try it again. See what happens. Well, that's good. That's farther than we got before, right? So, I mean, if that doesn't improve the value of a smoke saver, I don't know what does. So something was wrong with either my camera or my GPS, because this is definitely not doing what it did before, right? We have our crossfire, we've got our flight controller, we've got our VTX, that's all working. So while we're in here, I don't know why that's beeping, but while we're in here, I'm going to hit bind. And let's see if we can get the, yeah, I saw a red light. So let's see if we can get that crossfire to bind up. That's the first thing to do. On the initial boot, they'll do it. See how it found the micro, here, let me dim this screen a little bit. There, you guys can see that, I think, right? Can you guys see that? Okay. So update micro RX, confirmation needed, press enter to confirm. Maybe a little brighter, would that help? Okay, so press enter. And that's what I love about the crossfire. On that first boot, it'll go. So one of my quad does the same thing. It trips the smoke stopper too, but works fine when plugged in. Well, you know what I'll do? June Loke, right? June Loke? Sorry, that's a new name. So June Loco. Okay. What I'll do is after the receiver is bound, I'll go ahead and add the camera back or the GPS. I'll do the GPS because the GPS is the hard one. And then if that works, then we'll add the camera back in. But definitely, obviously, there's a problem with one of those two, right? Yeah, it doesn't. It's bound. It's bound. It's doing its update. It doesn't need to be a few feet. Well, I say that, and this is going to make a liar out of me, but I do it like this pretty much all the time. Let's... It says it's in progress. It saw it and it started binding and the light's in red, but yeah, it's not. I don't see the update. Oh, I'm just going to let it sit. I've learned with Crossfire, man. You just let it sit for a minute. Just let it sit for a minute. It'll do its thing. Eventually you get something happen. But yeah, well, I guess that was pretty short troubleshooting. Hopefully we don't have a problem with the camera or the GPS. I normally keep a little rag with isopropyl alcohol handy too. When I'm done, I'll clean that board off. Oh, Philip, man, I didn't see. When did you sneak in? He says just unplug them. Now, if the wiring on the board was crossed, though, unplugging it's not going to help. It's still going to be crossed. Yeah, this thing is... It's not going to do it. It's going to be difficult. Well, at least I can still reach the bind button, so that's good. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything happen here. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on, see what happens. We'll see what the light does. I hope it doesn't give me that fast flashing green. Well, it sees it. It says it wants to update it too. There it goes. Now it's updating. What the heck, man? There, it's updating. Normally what happens if you interrupt that process, a lot of times it goes into this bootloader mode, safety mode, where it does a rapid green flashing. That's bad. It's easy to recover. I just forget how to do it, but it is fairly easy to recover. I'm loving this type of content. Great job, my dude. Forget Chiati FPV. Hey, you know, I love building stuff, man. That's one of the things I really love about FPV with quads is I've always been a tech guy. So computers, I get it. You know, computers and I get along generally. So I've always loved messing with computers and video and cameras. And this just kind of takes the whole thing and puts it together. You know, it's just kind of all there in one spot. That's why I love FPV in general. There you go. RX is loading. Don't interrupt. I think we're going to be okay this time. But just leave it. You just let it sit. What you're looking for is a solid green light. When that light goes solid green, you're in good shape. That's always the key. There it is. Solid green light. That's the one, man. You leave it alone until you see that. Once you get that, then you're good to go. So we'll hit return. We'll hit return. And we are definitely bound now. There's no doubt about that. In fact, it's already buzzing at me. I bet it's got some kind of telemetry set up or something. Yeah, look. See, it's already got the telemetry. So very good. Perfect. All right. So let's do... let's figure out what the heck happened with our GPS and camera. So I'm going to go back to that, right? Because I want, got to have a camera. It's useless to me without a camera. So let's get that worked out. And I'm just going to check, I'm going to check my wiring first, make sure I didn't screw up something on the wiring. So the camera, the ground is inboard. No, the ground is outboard. The voltage is inboard. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. So let's just take this off. And I'm gonna re-solder this real quick and see if I can get this to behave. So the voltage is inboard, the ground is outboard. Okay, so let's do the voltage first. I'm gonna take this nut off too. I want it out of the way. Oh, I just realized I put a nut back in the box and I couldn't remember where it came from. It came from here when I was soldering on this side. Okay, so voltage, we'll do voltage first. I'm gonna retin these real quick. Just get a little bit of solder on there. And let's see. Well, that wasn't, I mean, hopefully not too much of a travesty. I wonder if that was it too, because those were bridge before, but they're both grounds. It shouldn't matter that that's bridge, but just for the sake of being the best we can be, I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. All right, so we'll do power first again. So power. Okay, that's a clean connection. And we'll do the ground. Yeah, you know, I appreciate that you guys hang out. You know, it's well, you know, when you do these kind of videos, I don't mind. I love doing this kind of work. You know, personally, I love this kind of work. But you know, you always kind of wonder, should I bother putting this on YouTube? You know, and you kind of it's the feedback is good. You know, it helps me understand whether or not I should make the effort of putting this kind of stuff out there. You know, so I do appreciate that feedback. So thanks for watching and joining and all that. That's great. Okay, so the second one's a ground too, and I used that earlier for the GPS. So I'm just gonna go ahead and connect. I'm gonna reconnect the signal wire for the camera, and that's easy. That one just goes right here. These these number 11 hobby knives are really good for holding those wires down too. Just don't use the sharp edge. I'm using the blunt edge. So all I'm doing is just putting that blade down on the wire and just pressing it, and that gives a really super clean, I'll show you if you can see it. That gives a very, very clean connection. That's the one I just did. Okay, I'm gonna plug the camera in next, and we'll see if the camera works. We'll see if that was the culprit or not. Well, I guess we'll never know. But well, if it doesn't work, then it is the culprit. And I'll have to figure out another option for the camera. There we go. Okay. All right, smoke stopper. Where are you? Where did that go? Oh, it's still on the battery. All right, let's try the smoke stopper again. I got yellow on the smoke stopper, and we'll see about the camera this time if that works. So here we go. We'll activate. We'll see if we get a short. Okay. Nothing. Oh, hey, look at that. It's the camera. Well, that's curious. That's curious because it's clean. That's a clean one. I wonder, there is something on the smoke stopper in terms of amperage. Let me just check that because we may be exceeding the amperage. Let me see. 1 amp is, let's see. 1 amp is blue, 2 amp current yellow. Blue. I think when the blue light is on, the threshold is 2 amps. Let's do that. There's the blue light. Oh, I'm going to be pissed if that's what it is. If it was just a little too much current between the camera. So all I did is I said, let's try 2 amps. Let's see if 2 amps works. So let's see what happens. Oh man, was that it? Was that it? That was it, wasn't it? It's with the camera, even though I use 10 volts, it's still the camera, I guess, is pushing it over the 1 amp limit. It's static. That's what it was. Well, okay, lesson learned. Better safe than sorry, right? Okay, so we'll put the, I can put this back. We'll put this away. And I'm going to have my, you know what? I think this can be arranged just a little better. I'm just going to take these, take it like that. There we go. I like that a little better. I don't want tension on the receiver wire at all, man. I don't want anything pulling on that receiver wire. Nothing. Yeah, that's definitely better. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's not better. I'll think about it. All right. So now I have to solder the GPS back on. Dang it. All right. You guys want to take a break? You can take a break. Take 5. I'm going to solder the GPS back on. GPS. Adam, no, I'm not. You know, I'm not a. I love to fly, but I don't consider myself a freestyle pilot. I'm building this. Here's why I built this. I built this to show people what's out there. You know, it's a review channel. So, you know, this is a nice frame. I'm showing how the frame goes together, hardware that works with it, what I think of it. But I'm not a good, like, I'm not like a serious FPV quad pilot or freestyle pilot. I can fly a quad. Don't get me wrong. I can fly it, but I'm not like, I don't consider myself like a freestyle pilot. I just go out and tool around. I noodle. I need that smoke stopper. Where can I get it? It's called a ViFly, VIFLY, and it's all over, man. These things are on Amazon. Amazon's a good place to go. In fact, if you want, I'll give you a link. If you want one, what the heck, man? I'll give you my Amazon affiliate link. How's that sound? How does that sound? Let me get you a link. ViFly short saver, and here it is. You guys, if you guys are willing to use a affiliate link, that's always useful for the channel. You know, it helps. It's a little, every little bit helps. You know, stuff adds up over time, and I put the money that I get for these different things into the channel, doing things like buying the quads. But anyway, back to the question at hand. Yeah, it's a GPS antenna or GPS on it because I'll probably goof around with it. I want to try iNav and, you know, I just show what's possible more so than, you know, you know, what a dedicated FPV pilot might be interested in seeing, I guess. That's probably the best way for me to put it. Like I said, I don't consider myself to be like I'm not like a freestyle guy. I like trying it, but, you know, I'm not skilled at it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Does that make sense? Somehow this thing seems like it got long. I guess when I initially connected it, I probably melted some of that sheathing away, I guess. Yeah, it's a little chewed up there. And it looks like I lost all my tin. Where'd my tin go? I gotta re-tin this. I thought I had it. There's that same connection. They bridged again, but I don't care. They're both grounds, so I don't really care if they're bridged. Ground is ground. Okay, back to the diagram. All you need is a car brake bulb and some wire and an XT60. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to buy one. You can just use a voltmeter and put it on continuity. But I don't think the voltmeter would have told me that I was over an amp, unless you have one that does current, right? So I got to go back to my GPS diagram. Let's see, where is that? There it is. I got it. Okay. So here we go. Back to this. This was fun. All right. So yellow, that is SDA. That's got to go on the SDA pad. So I have to break this video. I have to break the window apart again. So yellow goes on SDA, and SDA is right next to the camera. Okay. I got it. All right. Here's SDA. Good. SCL was the last pin. That's number 6. Good. Okay, we can do that. Ah, shit. Whoops, sorry. It came loose on me. Come on now. You guys play nice. Get on there and just sit down. Boy, this thing is turning into a mess. I have to cut this. I'm not happy with the way that looks at all. Yep. That one had to be cut. That's nasty. Nasty. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay, there's SDA. Let's try this again. SEL. SEL. Okay, TX. That's number 3. So 3 is white. Yep, 3 is white. That's TX. So that needs to go to RX. And I think if I remember, that was right next to it. It was right in the right spot. Yeah, it is. All right, we'll get that on there. There's RX. Green. Let's see, that's RX. That needs to go to TX on here. So that's correct. Get that guy on there. And then the last one is voltage. Well, you know, reflecting back on this, I think what just happened was we took all this stuff off and didn't really have to because we were simply a little bit higher than the amperage for the smoke stopper, right? Okay, smoke stopper is still blue. Let's go ahead and let me make sure you guys can see everything here. And then comments on that GPS, you're running iNav or Betaflight. Yeah, so right now I'm going to be running Betaflight. What I like to do Betaflight because I want to make sure mechanically everything's sound. So I'm comfortable with Betaflight doing that. Once I make sure everything is mechanically okay, then I'm going to probably go ahead and dump iNav on here. So I do want to try iNav on a quad. They've got some neat features that I'd like to play around with. I do, you know, I do a lot of fixed wing flying, if you guys didn't know that. All right, there, I've got the blue light set, so that's 2 amps. Antenna's on, GPS is on. Hopefully, we'll be good to go. So here it goes, I'm gonna punch it. I see a blue light on the GPS, which is good. That means not fried. Light there, light on the board. So everything's lit up and nothing's toast. So that's all good news. All right, now we have to, you guys know, we have to try the video, right? Give me just a second. I'm gonna get a monitor and let you guys take a look, but let's see what's going on with the video. Let's see how it looks. All right, we should have something. You do a search here. I don't know what channel the rush tank starts out on. Boy, I hope that's not it. There we go. That looks pretty good. A1. Yeah, that makes sense. So there you go. We got some video going. That looks pretty good. I don't see anything disturbing, although it seems like it's rebooting itself for some reason. Yeah. Well, that's all right. I'm going to take the smoke stopper off. So video works. That's all I really wanted to see, was wanted to make sure video worked and that it came in clear. Now I'm kind of curious to see if it's going to keep acting like that. There's some rebooting going on. That might have been because that amperage again on that smoke stopper. All right, let's see. It sounds okay. All right, so oh, there it rebooted again. Interesting. Interesting. Wonder what that's all about. Okay, let me get I want to get the screw back on here real quick. I'm not sure what that rebooting business is about. Not sure I'm a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that. T Hutch says most instructive. Well, good. I'm glad. Glad. That's the nature of it, man. It's to help people who haven't, you know, that's kind of one of the things I'm hoping for, is that people who've never done this kind of thing watch it and say, I can do that. You know, it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. It just isn't. But I wonder what that rebooting is about. That's going to be an interesting thing to sort out. Maybe, though, we can get some information by plugging in and turning on Betaflight. Okay, so I've got the radio. I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to set my box of hardware aside because I don't need that right now. And let's get this thing plugged into Betaflight, and I'll fire Betaflight up and let you guys see it. So there is the connection for that. Let me switch over to a workspace. I'm going to hide... let's see. Let's hide some of this stuff that we don't need. Oops, we want that. Don't need that. I'm going to take the chat down, take that down, take that down. There we go. That's what I wanted to get rid of. And now we'll fire up Betaflight and we'll see what Betaflight says. No, I don't think it's low battery. And I have to change my display settings, otherwise you guys won't be able to read the Betaflight text. So give me just a moment. That should scale it a little bit for you guys. Now I just have to resize it. And let me do that. Betaflight, where are you? Have to unlock it and then resize it. No? Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't the battery. The battery, in fact, the battery that I used was the one that I used for the bench test for the motor. So, okay, there's Betaflight. Let's connect and see what's going on in Betaflight. So the following problems: accelerometer is enabled, but it's not calibrated. That could have been it. If you plan, and what it's running 422 on the Betaflight. So the Betaflight firmware is 422, so that's fine. Now I'm going to show you guys something right away. You can make this build 250 after for just a few cheaper parts. Yeah, you probably could. Namely the Crossfire. You know, that's $30 for that. No, you know what? I think for pricing, I used the pricing on the Express LRS. Pretty sure I did. But instead, I'm going to put the Express LRS in the Ripper. So anyway, here, what I want to show you guys before you start messing around in here, okay? Before you go and start updating stuff and configuring stuff, just go into the CLI, and there's a couple commands to type. So the reason I suggest this is because out of the box, this gives you an opportunity just to go back to what you had. So just type the word dump. So type the word dump in the CLI, and then we'll save that. We're going to save that dump file, and I have a whole directory of these things. So I'll do a new folder, and this is the iFlight Titan. And then I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to use the name. I hope you guys can see this. If not, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me check and see. No, of course you can't. I'm trying to let me just get some stuff out of the way, and I will share the entire desktop with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. It's kind of important. I think it's important to do this before you go any further. So let me just share. I'm going to share the display. It's going to be a mess for a second, but you'll deal with it. Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Oh, wait. Is the display displaying? Nope, I have to make it smaller. There we go. So I'm sharing my entire desktop with you guys because I really want you to see what I'm doing here. So in Betaflight, you saw I went in the CLI and I typed the word dump, right? So there we go. So there's dump, and then I make a folder. In this case, iFlight Titan, and then for the name, I just put in. I'll just put in something like box stock dump. Now, this is much more important for like a bind and fly or an ARF than it is for a scratch build. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times in the bind and flies, they give a configuration that's been tuned by somebody at least. So getting a starting point is never a bad thing. So anyway, do that, then clear the output history, and then just type diff all, and then save that as well. And we'll just do a box stock diff all. So box stock diff all. Save that, clear the output history, and then one last one is the type resource, and then save that. So do a save on all of those, and you have a full, you can get back to this point. You'll have everything you need to get back to this point. I think a dump normally does it, but I've been told no. But anyway, that's it. I wanted to show you that one because I always do that on the start. You know, I always do that when I'm getting started, just so I know I have a place that I can go back to. So once I've done that, then it'll disconnect, of course, and we'll hit connect, and hopefully it'll fire up, and maybe I can calibrate this accelerometer. It's enabled but not calibrated, so I'm just going to calibrate it and hit calibrate, and there we go. And then ports, let's see, what did we do for the VTX? Does anybody remember what we did for not the VTX, the transmitter? So the transmitter, we did TBS Nano, that is on RX2, so we will enable RX2 for serial RX, not 1, right? Not 1, is it? What is 1? No, 1 is if you use FreeSky, so no. We are on 2 for that. And then the GPS, that was on 5. So we'll go over to 5. Look at that, says 19.2, that's weird. Okay, 5 says GPS. And then the VTX, that's 6. So UART 6, we need smart audio. Why don't I see smart audio? Shouldn't that be here? VTX smart audio, there it is. Okay, so that's 6, and I think that's it, right? So we have receiver, GPS, and smart audio. So we'll do a save and reboot. And now I'm going to plug my battery back in and see if we're still... Oh, you know what I wanted to do before I do that? I want to check the radio configuration. So we come down here and change this to Crossfire. Save and reboot again. And in theory, because we're not bound, because the receiver's off. So plug in the battery. That should get our receiver back. And now I should be able to go into my receiver page, and I should see stuff happening. That's an interesting long boot, though, with the battery connected. I wonder what that's about. Interesting. Disconnect, reconnect. Okay, receiver? No, of course not. Well, that normally means you put the friggin' receive and transmit on backwards, but let me just check the configuration again and make sure it took. It says Crossfire, and the Crossfire is on... Make sure I put it on the right port, right? Crossfire is on 2. TX2. TX2. See, it rebooted. Uh-oh. That's not great. Yeah, that's not great at all. That's constant reboot. I think it seems to me that that's a bad thing. RX failsafe boot grace time. What is that? Disable boot grace time flags calibrating MSP. Interesting. I've never seen this before. That's new. Maybe. No, Kaplosha says, did you turn UART5 on? I don't think did we connect anything to 5? That was the GPS. Yeah, I think we did. In fact, let's take a look. So ports. LH5. I thought we had GPS. Although the way this is behaving, that may get disconnected again. I'm not sure why we're getting constant reboots like that. I've never seen that before. Never seen that before. RX failsafe and MSP. All right, that's good. Power and battery. I'm curious on amperage. So I see 0 amps. Let's just try and plug it in again. Look at that. It says 16 amps. You see that? Interesting. 17, 16, 9, 11. That's weird. That's not cool. No, I smell smoke. I smell smoke. I smell something. Something just came. I just smelled smoke. I don't know where that came from. That's not cool. I'm going to disconnect the GPS. I'm going to disconnect the camera. And I'm going to try. I'm going to get my smoke saver again. Yeah, I smelled something. That's not cool. All right, let's see. Let's see. Big camera. There we go. Okay, the little fox here is disconnected. The GPS is disconnected. I'm just gonna let it sit for a minute and see if that does anything. Something's going on here. Something is definitely going on here. No, LiPo's not dying, man. This thing's solid. This thing is, it's a fairly new battery and it was just charged. It's, here, I'll take a look. It's definitely not the LiPo. When I plugged it in and I saw 15 amps, that's not cool. That's not good. There's something else happening. Yeah, it's got 4 volts per cell. It's not the battery. 100% not the battery. But you know, look at that. It's not doing it now. It's not rebooting. So I wonder. It's rebooting now. That sucks. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm not sure what to make of that, guys. I'm gonna have to think about this because I've never had one do that. The only other thing I can think to do is maybe upgrade the firmware. So let's try it. I'm gonna just plug it in, leave the battery disconnected for the time being, and let's try and upgrade the firmware. See if that helps. So update firmware. And, oh crap, I forgot to look at the board. Let's look at the board. Okay, this is a SkyStar F7 HD. All right. Let me just grab that real quick. SkyStar F7 HD. All right. So let's see. SkyStar F7 HD. 4.29. I always get pinched with that damn FPV Black Magic. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen one reboot like that. I mean, it seems to be fine if it's not on the battery, which kind of brings up other questions about maybe there's something with the battery lead. Maybe I might have to take that capacitor. Capacitor didn't blow, so it's not shorted. The receiver, I don't think I got anything out of the receiver either, so that's kind of weird. But let me just flash this real quick and see what happens. So I'm gonna flash. We're gonna go to 4.2.9. Yeah, if this doesn't work, basically it has to come apart. That's the way I see it. I'd have to take it apart at that point. Disconnect all the peripherals that we have on here. They all have to come off. And I'm gonna have to go one at a time until I figure out what's happening here. because I'm not really sure what's going on. No, the cap doesn't suck current. It stores voltage, so capacitors don't draw current. They actually hold some voltage, and they'll discharge it at certain points. But yeah, it's not a current draw unless it's shorted. I mean, if it's shorted, sure. Okay, so it says programming successful. I'm going to unplug and replug. Apply custom defaults. Okay, accelerometer again. We'll hit calibrate on the accelerometer. And receiver. So the receiver on this one doesn't get power off the USB. So whatever's going on there, that's that. But power and battery. I want to plug the battery in again. In fact, I'm going to remove the short saver, and I'm just going to plug the battery in. I want to check that amperage again. See, now the amperage only says 1.6, 1.7, 1.7, 1.6. So yeah, there's no amperage draw at this point. Let's just leave it sit for a minute. June Loco, good luck. Thanks, man. Well, let's leave it sit for just a minute and see what is going on here. There it went. It rebooted again. Yep. Yep. It's going through a reboot cycle, man. That's not great. That's not great. I don't know what that is. That, to me, that's everything comes off, man. Everything comes off. Now, I would take this completely down to the board. Oh shit, I'm sitting here doing this with it plugged in. I would take this completely down to the board at this point. And hopefully I didn't just screw it up. I had it plugged into the flight into the computer. But yeah, everything's got to come off now. It's all got to come off. This has to be sorted out. You can't have that. It can't be rebooting like that. I'm gonna take the VTX off, man. It's all coming off now. All of it. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably going to be it for the night then, because I don't know how this gets resolved. I'm going to have to spend some time. I think what I probably might do is go ahead and I'll get on Discord. If you guys want to hang out on Discord, I'll probably monkey with this for a while, but yeah, this situation not sat. All right, I got nothing plugged in at this point. So CPU load, yeah, I mean, no, you know, the weird thing is it doesn't happen until the battery's plugged in. That's what I don't get. Once the battery's plugged, like if it's just on, now the CPU right now is at 2%. So if you guys can still, I don't know, can you still see that? I don't have that on. Let me bring up the workspace. There we go. So the CPU right now is at 2%. Try swapping the ESC. Unfortunately, I don't have another ESC to try with this. And yeah, that's a lot, man. That'd be a lot of work. And by the way I did those wires, that would all have to be undone. You think the ESC is the problem? Yeah, you know, with the I kind of think it might be, because plugging it in on battery, that's when it starts giving me grief. I think that might be it. When it's just plugged in on the when it's just plugged in on the computer, it seems to be okay. Yeah, I'm not getting any reboots or anything else, so it seems to be okay when I do that. But let's just see. I have everything is disconnected now, so the only thing we've got is the flight computer and the ESC. And when I want to watch, so 3 amps. I mean, what's drawing 3 amps? I know that could be a calibration issue, but that to me is a little unusual to see 3 amps on a you know, nothing going on. We'll let it sit for a minute again, but if it times out, then the whole thing has to come apart. Well, the scale is high too. They've got the scale. The scale's at 400. That's not right. That should be 100. Putting it at 100, it sets it at 12 amps. Yikes. But it's not rebooting, which is good. Yeah, got a battery plugged in and it's not rebooting. Well, okay. So it's not rebooting and the battery's plugged in, but it's still showing 3 amps. That's disturbing to me. It really shouldn't be showing that much current draw. Yeah, I mean, sometimes this stuff happens, no doubt about it. But right now it's working. No reboots. Everything's disconnected and I'm not getting any friggin' reboots. Okay, that's the way you want to play? Let's play. That's the way you want to be? All right. There's something wrong. Obviously, there's something wrong. No, I think there must be something wrong with my work, because taking everything off, it stopped rebooting. It stopped rebooting. I can't dispute that. I mean, what do you say? I don't see anything wrong with the wiring down there. Let me, I'm just going to add one thing at a time and we'll see. I'm going to figure it out. But yep, it's everything disconnected. Yeah, I did that, Kelly. I just did that just a minute ago. I let it sit for a couple minutes and it was fine. Okay, let's figure it out, man. There's got to be an answer for this. I'm going to plug in the receiver first. I want to make sure I have my wires right. So red goes in, black goes out. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to untwist this a little bit and give myself some room to work. We'll have to worry about tidying it up later, I guess. Okay. So black, that's ground. All right. Let's see. Okay. Hey, you know what? This is what makes it fun. It's where you develop the skills. You know what I mean? This is where you start to learn how to do things, because if you don't run into these problems and everything works flawlessly, then what have you learned? You know what I mean? So let's start piece by piece. This is the first time I've ever had to do this. I've never, not one time with any build that I've ever done, and I've done some complex builds. I don't know if you guys have seen my long range stuff that I did years back, but man, I did some complex stuff. Eagle Tree and Dragon Link and telemetry, and I've done a lot of crazy stuff with this kind of equipment. This is the first time that I've had to go back to the bare board. But obviously it didn't like something. Okay, let's see. They want channel. I'm just going to do what they say. So they're saying yellow. Yellow goes outboard and green goes inboard. Okay. So their green is my white. So they're saying green goes inboard. All right, we'll do that. Because that's another thing I did not see. I didn't see the crossfire work, which is normally pretty easy. Normally that just pops right up. Okay. That's it. I'm just going to check and make sure. Yep, 5. Back to the smoke saver though. Yep. Don't even fool with it. Just do the smoke saver. Well, let's just see. I want to see if I could just get the crossfire working. What the hell? Why not? Okay, we'll set it on the higher. Okay, we got a light. Got telemetry. Let's try Betaflight then, and we'll see. Well, I'm going to see if it reboots. Let's just do that. See if it reboots. Okay. There we go, back in Betaflight, and I'd really like to see that receiver working, and it's not. Okay, so the receiver, and that should be, just to verify, the receiver is TX2. Okay, so TX2, so ports, that's this one. Turn that off, reboot. And now we have to go into configuration and set it to crossfire and not S-bus, crossfire. That one, save and reboot. Okay, that should be it. That's all. Yeah, there it is. I can see that's going to work. Okay, so we have receiver. That's working. We'll let it sit for a minute. We're just going to let it sit for a minute. Can't see. What can't you guys see? You can't see what? You can see Betaflight, right? VTX is bad would explain the power. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible the VTX is bad, or it's possible that I shorted something. You know, anything's possible. But see, this is the nature of it. You know, if that's what happens, right? You plug it in, you start seeing bad behavior, then you have to back it down. You have to. That's why when we first saw the smoke saver go south, the first thing I did was disconnected the flight computer from the ESC, and the ESC worked. So that's why I said, well, it's probably not the ESC. But yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing CPU load of 2% and under power and battery. I still see 2.5 amps, which makes me crazy to see that. But I don't really see a reason right now why I can't press forward. So I think the right now we have a working situation, right? We have a receiver that's responsive. Yep. And we're not rebooting. So let's go ahead and take the next step. So we'll disconnect this, and we'll do the next thing. The next thing will be the VTX. So let's take a look at the VTX again. Make sure I'm gonna have to check the wiring. So VTX, so they say oh, you know what? The VTX was over there on that VB Plus, and I did not like that when I did it. If you guys remember, I did not like that. In fact, I know what I want to do. I'm going to go get my voltmeter. I want to see what that VB Plus is doing. So give me just a second. I'm going to go grab a voltmeter. I want to see what that's all about. Give me just a moment. Okay, voltmeter and VB Plus. Where are you? Where are you? You're right there. You're VB Plus. Okay. So I'm gonna leave my short saver connected. I'm gonna plug that in. We're gonna turn that on. And I'm gonna let you guys see, let me switch over to the big screen so you can see what I'm doing. I wanna see. Remember when we started connecting this, I said, I don't really like plugging a VTX into raw voltage. So I want to see what that VB Plus is doing. So that VB Plus is, let's hook up to ground first. So there's ground and there's VB Plus. That's 15.8. So that's not unusual, but I mean, that should have worked. That should have worked. 15.8 is no problem for the Rush Tank VTX. Not a problem. So that shouldn't have been a problem. You can't see. Can you see? You guys can see. You just June Loco says you guys can't see? You can see, right? You can see the quad, can't you? Oh, you can see. All I was doing was connecting my voltmeter right here to VB Plus and ground. That's it. I just wanted to see what the voltage output was on that VB Plus terminal, because that's where they recommended plugging the video transmitter That's what they recommend plugging it into. Did you guys see that? That's all I was after. Hopefully you saw it. Yeah, okay. If not, let me know. I can always go back. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and rewire this, and we're gonna put the VTX back in. I want to see the VTX work. So VTX is down here at the bottom. So we'll do yellow first. We'll do yellow first, and then I'll zoom in so you guys can see better on the quad. Okay. So yellow. Do yellow first, and we'll just get that. That one's easy. That's the only thing. It's right there. All right, that's the VTX line. Then I've got the smart audio line. And that is TX6. We'll just connect that one. Okay. And then we'll do, you know, it says VB plus, but man, I gotta tell you, I'm still not a big fan of that, but that's what they say to do. I'm gonna give that a little more solder. And I'm gonna give that ground a little more solder too. There we go. Okay. There's VB plus. And here's ground. Okay. All right. That's that. I'm going to plug in the smoke saver. Let me see what's going on here in comments. Can't see, just here for the magic smoke. Show what you're doing. You guys can see now, right? Can you see okay? And I know the tank air 100% that voltage. I guess that's why helicopters need a tail rotor. Where's Robert? Robert, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to catch up with him today. So I'm not sure where he is, but let's go ahead and try this VTX and see what happens. Okay. So we'll leave that. We'll leave that, and I'm going to plug the computer in. And I'll zoom out just a little bit. We're just going to let it sit for a minute, because this is what we had to do last time, right? You guys remember the first time we plugged it in, and for a little while it was fine. And then after letting it sit, after letting it sit for a couple minutes, that's when it started rebooting. Chat must have a big lag, huh? Yeah. Well, keep in mind too that I'm looking down half the time. So let me I'll tell you what, let me bring up the Betaflight screen. Let me do that, and I'll add the camera. I'll add the camera back in so you guys can see the quad. And I have to move this so you guys can, we want to see Betaflight. That's the thing you want to see. All right, let me just move this down a little bit and make it a little bit smaller. I want to make sure you guys can see everything that I'm seeing. So there we go. There's the quads plugged in, VTX is plugged in, receivers plugged in. We could do smart audio on the ports. That was TX6, right? That was this guy, smart audio. Save and reboot. That's my reboot, so I'm okay with that. VTX. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video transmitter setup, but let's see, you're not configured or sport. You can modify from here. This will only be possible if it's attached to VTX using some protocol like Tramp. There was where's the button? There's supposed to be a button. No, I'm not going to try the motors yet, man. No way. That's current. No. We'll figure out why it's rebooting first. If you have something short circuit and you run current through it, then we don't want to do that. Let me see if I can get this the VTX going. There's a table. Let me grab the table real quick. Let's see. There used to be a link on Betaflight that when you clicked on it, it brought you right to the place with the VTX tables, and you just had to basically paste them in. Let's see, Betaflight, VTX tables. Okay, here it is. Smart Audio 2.0 USA or 2.1. Okay, TB. So I got to find out if this is Smart Audio, the Rush Tank, if it's Smart Audio 2.0 or 2.1. So give me just a second. And so far, it seems, just FYI, it seems to be okay. It's not rebooting. So that means that the cool thing is we get to move on to the next thing, right? So we'll do the camera next. But I want to see if this Rush Tank is 2.0 or 2.1, so give me just a second. Rush Tank with Smart Audio. Let's see, does it say? No, it doesn't say. Okay, well, I guess we'll grab 2.0. Okay, we'll grab 2.0. Let me share this with you so you can see what I'm doing. Give me just a second. I'll pop this browser up so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see, not the display. There it is. So you go out and find this VTX. Oh, what the heck is that thing doing way over there? Hold on a second. We got to fix that. Oh, I see. It's not up front. That's the problem. There we go. Okay, so the idea is you grab this all this data. You do Control A, highlight it, right click and hit copy, and then you go back into Betaflight. And then when you're in Betaflight, I'll hide this window. And when you're in Betaflight, you click on load from clipboard. And let's see, the selected VTX type does not support factory setting for bands. Some of your bands, and so you click save to fix this. But not stored in the flight controller. You must verify and modify so they make sure they're legal. Okay, fine. Okay, well, this is new. This is a new process that I haven't gone through before, but so far we're not rebooting, that's great. So that's good news. One of my guys just told me you need my help. What up, man? How's it going? Oh, well, we're just troubleshooting. We had receiver, camera, crossfire all plugged in, and we powered up. And once we added the battery, it started rebooting. So since then, I've disconnected everything, all the accessories, receiver, GPS, VTX, all came off, and now they seem to be working okay so far. So we're back up to the VTX is on and okay. The Crossfire receiver is on and okay. We're not rebooting. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the camera. But where I am right now, while we were waiting, was we were waiting to see what was going to happen with the VTX table. And I went to load it from the clipboard, and I'm getting Betaflight errors. So we'll come back to that. I want to make sure mechanically we're sound first. So I'll switch back over to the big camera. So here we are, big camera. Disconnect this guy, and the next thing I'm going to do the camera because if I can only have one thing, it's going to be the camera. Or, well, I guess it's going to be the receiver and then the camera. So we'll just let me check the wiring diagram real quick on this. And let's see. Okay, so the camera, that's the other thing. I had the camera on 10 volt. I can use 5 volt too, but the camera, let me just check the specs on the camera real quick, because I'm sure the camera can take a ton. It's a Foxeer Nano Predator 5, and it is good for input latency. Input voltage, I'm sure, is very high on this thing. Input, yeah, it's 4.5 to 20, so 10 volts is no problem. This thing could handle 10 volts, no problem. So let's see, 10 volts, and we did see the camera work too, so we know that works. So 10 volts on the outside, grounds on the 10 volts outside, grounds on the inside. I got that backwards. 10 volts is on the inside, grounds on the outside. All right, let's connect the camera again. I want to that has to work too. All right. There's the signal line. I'll do the red one first because that's inboard and harder to get to. So we'll do that first. Okay. Now we'll do the ground. Okay. So 10 volts, ground, and camera. That's it. So let's plug it in. Okay, there we go. And smoke stopper first. I know everyone's kind of waiting to see what's going to pop, right? So the camera's connected, smoke stopper is plugged in. We'll turn off power, make sure that's off. Okay, there we go. And here we go. All right, it's on. So we'll wait for a minute and let's see what's going on in chat while I wait. So thanks to me, my guess one of the components is grounding out. You troubleshooting perfectly though, pulling everything, putting them back one by one. Good work. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. The collective is passing through. Yeah, it's great to have you guys, man. I appreciate everyone hanging out. This is kind of cool. I mean, this reminds me, you know, when I was a kid, a teenager, we used to work on our cars. That was kind of a thing. You know, we'd work on our car. We didn't have any money, but you know, we'd like to tinker with them. You know, we'd need to put a new exhaust gasket on, or somebody would need to put a new intake manifold on, or whatever. So anyway, it just kind of reminds me of that, you know, being in the garage back when I was a kid, when we used to hang out together and do stuff. So yeah, very cool. Well, so far we're okay. I'm going to plug the computer in and take a look at the amperage. Let's get that connected and I will bring up Betaflight so you guys can see that. And let's see. Whoops, I didn't want to be in there. That's, uh-oh. I'm going to leave the CLI, and I know it'll reboot when I leave the CLI, so we'll do that. That's known. That's a known issue. It's not an issue, it's just what it does. So we're fine with that. But I wanted to go back and look at the power. So 1.7 amps. That's actually lower than it was. Okay, I'm going to get the camera out. I'm going to get the monitor out, and we'll see what's happening with the monitor. We should have video. Yeah. The Fox here camera OSD is on. Battery less than full on the OSD, but everything, it looks fine. The video looks fine. Yeah, we resoldered everything. Everything came off. The receiver came off, the VTX came off, camera came off. It all came off. So right now, though, I'm not seeing any errors. Okay. Although, I'm losing telemetry, though. That's interesting. Is the receiver still connected? Let's see. No, the receiver is not. Check that out. Yeah. Look at that. The receiver's not responding. We had that working. Did we lose the ports? Did something change on the ports? Yes, we did. Why are the ports? See, this is one of the things that this software gets me. Because you guys saw I know you all saw that receiver working. And all the ports are gone now. They're blown up. So let's see. That was on number 2. So why is number 2 not working? And the peripherals, the TX, the VTX was on 6, right? Yeah, that's on 6. So that should be smart audio. So why are those two? I wonder where they went. Okay, there. I got my receiver back. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you can see Betaflight. Yeah, that was kind of weird, right? The receiver works now. I wonder if the VTX... There's the VTX table. Device is ready. You see over here, right here on the side, when you have the VTX table set up correctly, you'll see this device ready right here. You'll see that. Who does number 2 work for? If you're asking about the UART, that's for the Crossfire. So, and that was working. That's the weird thing. We had a little while ago, this was up and running, and you can see on the ports configuration, we had UART number 2 set up for serial RX, and it was working. And then somewhere along the line, we lost it, but it's back now. So the radio's still up and running. So that looks good. And the video transmitter table is populated now. So we will, I'll do race band, channel 3, power 25, low power disarm on, low power disarm on until first arm. We'll leave it on. Okay. So I'll just save that. All right. So that should give me, one thing we can do while we're waiting to see if this thing is going to reboot itself is bring the monitor back up, and now we should see that we should not have video. Good. That's a good sign. And now when I do a search, we should go from, we were on A1 before, if you remember. Can you guys see this? I want to make sure you can see this. Yeah. So I'll hit search, and now we should be on R3. That's what should show up. It should stop on R3. Oh, this thing is going to be a pain in the neck, so I'm just going to manually push it over to R, and then 3. Boy, that looks terrible. That's on low power mode. Let me boost the power mode. These low power modes, let's just try changing it. Yeah, that looks pretty terrible. Yeah, that's not great. It didn't look like that when we had it on A1. I wonder, let me just try it. A1 power, we'll leave it at 200. And I'm going to turn this low power thing off. We'll hit save, and I'll switch. Oh, look at that, man. The video's gone to hell in a handbasket. Pit mode is on? Oh, shit. Who did that? Damn it. What the... I tell you, man, I think Betaflight just screws with people. They're like, yeah, we'll just turn this on. They won't notice. Config. We'll save. Well, let's try R3 again. Band, R3. R1, 2, 3. Boy, that still looks terrible. Boy, R3 here looks really not good. I've seen it look at the field. It looks fine. That's weird. Let's try this again. We'll do A1. A1. Are we pit mode again? Oh boy. Let's just... Look at that. It keeps going into pit mode. Is there an option to do that? Pit mode is back on. Yeah, I know. Leave your low power. Yeah, no, I normally do that. I'm just doing some testing right now and trying to figure out why the video looks like crap. Because earlier it did not look like crap. Right now it kind of looks like crap. Oh, this thing's just being stubborn now. Okay, no reboots. So that's good. You know what I mean? That we're not having reboots. So something, there was something. I'm just searching again. I'm gonna just try it on the monitor. I'm just gonna try and see if it's like it was it was acting strange. Like it wasn't saving things that I wanted to save. So nope, that's not it. So let me just do a search real quick. Yeah, that video looks like not good. Not great. Let me see if it's still doing this pit mode thing. Video transmitter. Yeah, what's up with that? Stop going into friggin' pit mode. What? That's weird. Why is it? Oh, I wonder if it's something on the radio. It might be. It might be something on the radio. Something is causing it to stay. It's being stubborn. No, it's not the monitor, man. It's Betaflight keeps putting it back in pit mode. It's like, what the heck? What is wrong with you? It says pit mode right here. It says it right on the side. Pit mode frequency. Yeah. It keeps going into pit mode. Oh, that is just weird. Let me try changing it to 200. It's still in pit mode. Huh. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but that's annoying. I'll have to figure that out too. Like it's stuck in pit mode. It will not come out of pit mode. Should have just went, well, I do a lot of digital, but this, I just did a digital build, but this was a, the anti-digital build. It was for the people who aren't doing digital. That's why I did it. Going to the goggles OSD VTX second level switch from race to free. I think it is. Go into the goggle OSD VTX and the second level switch it from race to free. Are you talking about with the stick commands? Is that what you're suggesting? I've never had this kind of difficulty with Betaflight, man. I've never seen this before. Why on earth is this thing sticking in pit mode? When I hit save, that should not flip back like that. That's not cool. Okay, go into the goggle OSD VTX. Oh, okay, let's see. Definitely have never seen anything like that. All right, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna put it on channel, I don't know, B1 and hit save off of pit mode. Right back into pit mode. Can you believe that? That's not cool. B1 power 200 pit mode. Low power disarm on, off. Yeah, there's something. Oh, there, look at that. The video just popped back in clear. Yeah, man, there's definitely something weird with that. Low power disarm off. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that. So you guys are saying go into the OSD. Let me I can bring the, I can do that with the radio.
Welcome to OpenTx.
So I guess this, you're talking about the stick commands when you first boot it up, huh? Try holding the VTX button. Does it need to be unlocked? Yeah, you know, it might. I haven't looked into that with Rush Tank yet. So that's a possibility that it might need to be unlocked, but it's unlocked now. I mean, I don't know if, can you guys see the monitor? See what I mean? That's working clear. So that's definitely working normal. That actually looks really good. You know what? I'm not going to wear this out. I'll worry about that later. It's good enough. It works. And we're not rebooting. That's the important thing. I think we should press forward. I'm going to disconnect the flight computer, disconnect the battery, and let's try and get the GPS back on it again. That's the only thing left is the GPS again. No, I don't know. Double A. It's been I haven't gotten that far, to be honest with you. I haven't even looked at the OSD screen yet. So I don't know. But I can see that it works. Like, I'm not worried about the hardware. It's clearly, it's a configuration issue. We'll stipulate that. It is clearly something to do with the configuration. Maybe it's the stick menus. Maybe it's the, you know, something on the OSD menu that's messed up. Who knows? I'll figure that part out. Even if I have to like downgrade the firmware or reflash the VTX table or whatever, I'll figure it out. But it works and we're not rebooting. So that's what's most important. No, I don't think it's the VTX. I think it's something to do with the software. Could be VTX software, could be the radio, because I do have the radio, but I haven't loaded any of my custom config stuff, so I doubt that. I don't think the radio is interfering with the modes, to be honest with you. I haven't loaded anything up. So, boy, this video. I hope you guys are having fun. I'm having fun. I like messing with this kind of crap. Okay, let's see. You know, the other thing that I've done in the past, I've soldered my ground from my GPS up here on the camera ground. I'm not going to do that this time either. Although I really don't think that should freaking matter. I'm just not going to do it this time. I'm going to solder it down here on this one. It shouldn't matter, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it that way. Yeah, it's a rush. No, it's just a standard rush tank. It's the rush tank. It is the rush tank. Hold on. It is a rush tank 2 with smart audio. It's the big one. Here, can you see it? I have to make sure I have the camera going. Let me switch to the big camera. So it's the rush tank 2. Nothing special. All right, one's locked and one needs to be unlocked in the OSD. Okay, I'll check that. It's locked. The Rush Tank 2 is locked. Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I was able to get it to come in clear after fiddling with it a couple of times. It seems like changing the channel and the band while changing the power got the power level back up. It seems like if I just changed the power level, it ignored that. So maybe that's it. Maybe it needs to be unlocked. It wouldn't surprise me. Those BS rules that they have wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, I want to get the let's do the GPS again. This is what, the third time I've wired this stupid GPS in? But at least we're not rebooting, right? That's a good thing. All right, here we go again. Pin number 1. Pin number 1, that's the, which one is it? Okay, pin number 1 is yellow. That is SDA. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So Chiotti FPV says OSD VTX menu stats. I think but the only option allows you to go to the next screen, and then on that next screen you can only change one option. It'll probably be on race, which is pit. Okay. Well, if you want to hang tight, I'll get back to that in a couple minutes, but I want to see if we can get this GPS populated and working too, because we're still kind of at the hardware level. So SDA, Compass SDA, that is yellow, and that's going to go on SDA. All right, let's just get this show on the road. That is SDA for sure, and this is too long. Okay. All right, SCL is the last one, so that was gray. Yep. Okay. Gray. Okay. And then let's see. Ground, that's black. That will have to wait. So RX, we need the TX, that's pin number 3, and that one is white. So white. White will go, that is the TX, that should go on the RX lead. That's this one right here. All right. That's good. green. That's the next one. And then we need voltage. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and use the ground. Like I said, I'm going to use the ground. It's down here, but I need a little more solder. I'm hoping you guys can see this. I'm not zoomed in far enough, right? There we go. That should be a little better. So here's a ground. That's a ground. I'm going to use that. It's free. There's nothing on it. Again, not that it should matter, but why not? It's free. Okay. All right. That's that. We'll connect the GPS again. And let's try it. Smoke stopper. Zoom out. All right, here we go. This is everything again. I mean, at this point, this is everything. So I've got the smoke stopper ready to go. I don't see any lights on that GPS, which I don't like. That's not cool. No lights. No lights. No lights on the GPS. What's up with that? What did I miss? Oh boy. This thing is just fighting the entire way. All right, what did I miss? TX 5-volt and ground. Is this possible? The ground is on a separate circuit. So all I'm doing, guys, is for some reason, I had no lights on the GPS when I moved the ground down to the end. So I'm just going to put it on the one that they said to use. I don't know why it freaking matters, man. Ground should be common. It shouldn't matter. And I don't see any GPS lights. Nothing. Okay, so now we got to check voltage then. If we have no lights on the GPS and it's battery powered, so this is not a question of whether or not the USB is providing voltage. We have to get the leads out. Yep, gotta get the leads out. And I hate doing it when it's this close. That's 5 volts. There's 5 volts going to the GPS, but I've got no lights. So, did we lose the GPS? Kind of looks like it. It kind of looks like it. I got no, and we did have GPS lights before. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. We did have GPS lights before. Kind of feels like we lost the GPS. Yeah, no lights. No lights on the GPS. It kind of feels like this is a goner. Nothing. Yeah, the pins are right. I do not want to try and stick a freaking voltmeter on that thing. That would be really not easy to do. Surefire way to cross it up. I did check voltage on the wires here. I did not check them going up though. That's really sketchy to try and get them on that thing. The let's see, the ground. Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, there was a whiff of smoke earlier, no doubt about it. It could have been this. Second one is ground. And then that one is way over there. The power is way over there. All right, well, I guess I can try. I don't like it, but I can try. What I'm trying to figure out is if we have voltage up to the GPS. I mean, I'm sure there is because I checked it down here on the pads. You checked it down here. You check it down here on the pads. You should definitely have it up here, but it'd be worth looking. So let's bring it up and see if I can get the pins on it. Oh man, this is going to test it. This is going to test the... Man, I just connected those and it rebooted the flight controller. I have a feeling this GPS might be our culprit. I really do. I think this GPS might be our problem. You know what? I think I have... You think the FPV karma has caught up to me, huh? Something's been... something caught up to me. Tell you what. Oh boy. Let's see here. I wonder... No, these are too big. Yeah, I'm really nervous about trying to get a lead on those things because I'm afraid I really don't want to short this. That's the issue. I don't want to short it. But man, I gotta tell you, I really do. I think that's the problem. Because this is no longer working. No lights on this, but we're not rebooting either. So, and I know I have voltage on it. I mean, I checked the voltage on the tabs over here. So, you know, the red and black are right there. So if I put them on, if I put these two on here, there's black right there. No, that's reversed. There's black right. Boy, I did not like this. So close. All right, so there's black. There's 5 volts. You guys can see the 5 volts. So there's voltage going to that thing. Unless this wire is shot, there's definitely voltage going to that thing. But I don't think the GPS. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm taking the GPS off. I'm going to take that off for now. And we'll come back to that. I'll revisit that some other time. But, well, I have another thing I can do. Now that I think about it. The question is, if you're not going long range, do you really need it? And the answer to that is no, not really. Now, there was one time on a Tyro 119, I was out doing some flying at the field, and I went into this area. I don't really have that concern with a crossfire, but I went into this area on the field where we normally do get a little bit of, you know, it's a little sketchy in terms of radio signal. And I lost radio signal, and the Tyro 119 came back. So, you know, I guess the point is that it I do like it for safety feature, but no, not strictly necessary. I don't fly all my stuff because I'm, you know, with GPS because I'm worried that I can't get it back. You know what I mean? That's not my nature. Yeah, you can fly without GPS. Yep. I think that's the criminal. I think that's a criminal. I think we should do a Does It Blend video. I'm half tempted to do it, but you know, that's Amazon, so I can get my money back. I can say this thing doesn't work, and they'll give me my money back. And the thing is, I've had plenty of those GPSs, so I know they work. But I think that's the problem. I think there was something up with this thing. I think that's what it is. I've got power. we're gonna leave it connected. Let's get into Betaflight and let's do some configuration stuff in Betaflight and see if this thing acts normal. You know what I mean? And you guys were talking about something with the screen. Let's see if we can mess with that too. So yeah, the video looks, let me swap places. Let me just put the drone up here and let you guys see the camera. So the drone's just kind of looking at the front of the desk a little bit, but you guys can see that. There you go. The camera looks good. When it's at full power mode, it looks fine. But boy, that was fun. Did anybody? Yeah, oh yeah, it absolutely supports a Jeep. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, first off, it has SCA, SDL, SDA, so, and yeah, so yeah, it does. And then second, it's a UART, so it's the Betaflight. Did the GPS? Well, we don't know. I saw a blue light on it once, but every single time that thing was connected, I was getting reboots. Right now, not getting any reboots. So what's up with that, right? Okay. I mean, it looks okay. It looks okay. Like the video looks fine. It's not rebooting right now. That's good. Everything's good. All right. Yeah, it does. That's what I mean. When it's working, if you guys can see it, it looks healthy and there's nothing wrong. I mean, I got to turn off the OSD here. You know what I mean? That's got to go. But other than that, the video looks fine. Looks very healthy. So let's go ahead and, while we're here, I'm going to go into the video transmitter again, and pit mode is off. Pit mode is off. Let me switch over so you guys can see this thing. This quad, but I'm going to have to call this thing Rocky, man. It's a fighter. It doesn't want a quad. I think I'm going to turn the camera off for the moment. We'll turn it back on if there's anything interesting to see, but let's turn that off so you guys can see Betaflight, because I think that's where I want to spend some time right now. So let's take a look at the OSD. Yep, very basic OSD setup right there. Nothing unusual. Now, I do have what I call a common config. So what I'll do is I'm going to paste this. In fact, I probably should just show you my desktop so you guys can see it. Yeah, let me just share the desktop so you guys can see, rather than have me fighting with Betaflight and what you can and can't see. Let me just close that, close that. Okay, so I have this common configuration that I like to use, and if I can get to it, in theory, there it is, Betaflight. So for analog OSD, I load this up and I just have this text file. And if you guys are interested in this, I'd be happy to share it with you. But all this does is set up my OSD so that all my analog arrangements are common. So I'll just hit Control A, Control C, and I'll come back over here into the CLI and I'll paste it in and hit enter. And what that'll do is it'll set up my OSD for how I like my OSD to be. Of course, I just changed the channel, so let's change to race band 3. Here we go again. That's fun. So race, oh great, we're back into this disaster again. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious. This whole pit mode thing, I mean, that's just hilarious. I don't even know what to say. Channel 3, turn it off. Pit mode frequency. I'm gonna turn all this crap off. Ah, great. So we're gonna play that game. All right. Oh, hey, look, it came back. How about that? All right, now if we look at the OSD, that's my normal OSD. Although it looks like there's, oh, you know what? I think I'll upload the fonts. Let me just try that real quick. I'm not seeing it. You know what I mean? I'm not, if you guys aren't seeing it, I'm not seeing the fonts on the screen. got some of it. You know, a lot of it's missing because of the GPS. You know, with the GPS gone, a lot of that stuff is not going to show up. So without GPS data, a lot of that stuff that I use is not there. But I can see my pit mode is right, or my VTX power mode right there. And there we go. I can change it. So there's 25, 200. I'll have to make an adjustment there. So anyway, yeah, that's good. I think that's what's going on is with all the GPS stuff, I'm missing data. So I'll have to check into that. Although one thing that's interesting is I put it back into 200 milliwatts on the output power, and I'm back to seeing these lines again. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder about that. I'm going to do a reboot on this thing and see if I can make that go away. Nope. Boy, this video oh, it's back in freaking pit mode again. Boy, I'm going to have to crack the code on that for sure. There it goes. It's off now. Okay, so anyway, there's the OSD. And then another thing that I like to do is I have a standard common config that I use for everything else. This is basically like my failsafe settings, my adjustments, my rate profile configurations. So I'll just copy that, and then I'll go into the CLI and I'll just paste it. And again, this is just common configuration stuff. That's all it is. It's what sets up things like my modes. So like now you guys can see that my modes work the way I'd want them to. We'll hide these unused modes. So I've got angle mode, acro mode. There's my arm switch, and that's correct. And there it's disarmed and armed. So yeah, everything looks good there. Failsafe, I think we have to set failsafe to do, I know most people like drop, so I'll just leave it on drop. I don't have, I'm going to leave this on hold. On aux5, I'm going to leave that on hold because I don't have my GPS stuff. So until I get that worked out, I'm turning all that back off. All right, so let's see. It says bad RX. Bad RX recovery. Oh, I bet because I don't have a failsafe set. So let me go into Crossfire, and you guys want to see what I'm going to do there. I'll put on the big camera. So all I'm going to do in Crossfire is go into TBS Agent Light under this receiver and set. I'm going to make sure that the failsafe is cut. It is. So I don't know what it's complaining about on Betaflight, but it's saying it doesn't like bad your receiver is just recovered from receiver failsafe, but the arm switch is on. Oh, okay. Great. There we go. Okay. Modes. We did modes. We did, we'll take a look at PID tuning and make sure my rates are there. So rate profile settings, rate profile 1, 2, and 3, they're all there. So all my rates are in place, although I'm not seeing, oh, I bet I don't have, no, I don't. So that's another one. Here, let me show you guys this too. What's going here? Let me flip back over to this workspace. So here's what's going on. In the receiver page, I'm flipping my switch, and it's not working. You know, I'm not seeing the aux data change, and the reason for that is because I don't have the Crossfire set to do 12 channels. So I need to turn that on to 12 channels real quick. So going to TBS Agent Light, and under Nano RX, under General. You see how it says mode 8 channel right there? We just have to change that to 12. Oops, not 8, 12. And by doing that, that will get us back to the ability in Betaflight to have control over our rate. So you see now aux6 now works, and now I should be able to go into PID tuning and look at my rate profile and see I should be able to switch. Yeah, there it goes. So now it's switching between rate profile 2 and 1. So those are high rates, medium rates, low rates. And you can use them if you want or not. Again, if you guys are interested in this stuff, I'd be happy to put it out on the server and let you download my configurations if you want. But these common configuration options are really kind of cool because right now this thing is like 90% set up. You know, the only thing left for me to do is just kind of go through it step by step. But you know, as far as my configuration goes, it's pretty much done. Now, you guys had mentioned, and I'm going to go back in here and turn off the display, and because we're done loading up common config stuff, and I want to bring the camera back. And you guys had mentioned that there's probably an option somewhere in the startup commands to unlock or get out of pit mode. So I want to talk about that. Let me see what's going on. Need to enable GPS for the lights. Shouldn't need to. Top comment there explains it. So I think use smart audio and yeah, that's what I'm AA. That's what I'm talking about right now. 2 words, Cadix Vista. Yeah, I have a Cadix Vista. I have a Croc baby, and I've got some DJI Air stuff. And you got to go back and check my Armaton Badger video. I love the digital, man. But like I said, I'm a review channel. You know, I have to be able to, I got to move around a little, you know, and help make sure people have options, because not everybody's into digital, you know, just the way it is. So I'm trying to help, you know, say, well, if you're not doing digital, this is a configuration that could work. But let's see, need to enable GPS for the lights. Shouldn't need, no, I don't think I had anything about GPS for lights. I don't think so. But I want to go ahead and do a reboot on this thing, and then see if we can get that into the menu, and see if we can unlock this thing. I'm curious about that. So PID tuning, of course, that thing locks it up sometimes. So save and reboot, and throttle mid, pitch up. Y'all left, pitch up. Y'all left, pitch up. All right, I'm not used to getting in there. I don't get in the stick menu very often, so try it again. Y'all left, pitch up. Wow, that's really fast. Throttle mid, it is. Oh, I had my throttle lock on. Maybe that was the problem. Okay, throttle it mid. Y'all left, pitch up. There we go. All right, so there's the menu. Now, where was it? He was saying features. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Oh, we should go to the big screen. But go to the big screen and zoom in. That'll give you. So I'm in I'm in the stick menu, right? And I don't know if that'll help or not. Maybe that'll help. Okay. So let's see. I think he said it. You guys were talking about OSD, right? Were you talking about OSD? Flat, no, brick, back, nope. OSD profile, active element, timers, alarms, invert, nope. I don't think that's it. Flight controller and firmware, miscellaneous. Where were you guys saying to go? We should scroll back and see. Need to enable. Where is the? Where was he saying to go? In Tank VTX is 2.0 and 228S. I've just checked. Okay. All right. I'm trying to find out what the comments were about the stick menu. That one I know is locked. Needs to be unlocked in the OSD VTX menu. Okay. So VTX menu. Is that under miscellaneous? Throttle, digital idle, FPV, cam angle, RC back. OSD. He said under the OSD. Oh, he said OSD. Invert. I don't see a VTX menu. OSD profile. OSD profile. No. That just changes the screen, so that's not that. Active element. No, that's just setting the. I don't want to change all this stuff. No, that's just the. These are just the OSD elements. That's not where we want to be. Oh crap, how do you get out of this? There we go. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is just the elements that are on the screen. Now, we don't need to change these. Display name, channels, camera frame. Nope. Timers, alarms, invert, and back. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Features. You guys, features. Okay. Features. Got it. Oh, VTX. There it is. Okay. Race band 3, pit, set, config. Is it here in config? Op model. Free. Yep, I'm in features. Set. Set. Confirm. Yes. Okay. Set. I'm waiting. Maybe config. No. Okay. Config. Op model free. Flight select mode. Channel. Pit mode. Pit mode. PIR. That doesn't change. Yeah, there's nothing. You can't change that. POR frequency. Stat X. Status. Baud rate. It's the op model. Op model free. Race or free. So it was free. So you're suggesting race? Change it to race and see if that fixes it. Okay, so it's letting me cycle through the power levels on here, which is good. Okay, back. Back. Save and exit. And that channel, the power channel thing on this really kind of sucks. I don't think it will. I think you need to do a buttonhole and powering up the VTX gets unlocked, but if your VTX ever stuck in pit mode like this, that op mode is usually the problem. Yeah, it looks like I'm able to change it, but I notice on the right hand side, there's a little P on that screen too, and I don't know what that is. I'm gonna move that over and see if I can figure out what the heck that is. I think that means pit mode. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's in pit mode again. This stupid thing. Yeah, it's in pit mode again. Every time I change the power level, it goes into pit mode, but when I change it again, it goes off. So that's kind of interesting. But when I use the power selector on my radio to change the power level, so if you guys can see this, here's the weird part about it. Like right here, it's on race 3 200. And I have a VTX table. Let me just check I'm going to check it in the CLI. I'm going to check the VTX table and see what I have. VTX, I think this is VTX, right? Yeah, so VTX, and that feels... Change it back to free. I think that's what it's supposed to be on. Okay, I will. 00, and these are power settings, so 0 2 1. So that's correct. That VTX table is actually correct. Although 0 2 1, so 1 2 0. When I notice when I switch it, so there's the reboot. I notice when I switch it, it goes from, it's at 200 right now, I put it in the middle position, it stays at 200. And I put it in the bottom position and it goes to 25 and in pit mode. So, okay. So video transmitter. Let's see what this table says. So you got 0, 1, and 2. So that's every time it goes into 0, it's putting it in a pit mode. No, this is the 30 by 30. Yeah, it's the 30 by 30. So I think what I'm going to do in my configuration is just take the damn pit mode out. Because I don't know why it's doing that. So 0, that's the one that's the criminal. They all say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 900, 1400, 1900. That's the range. So this is the range. So the switch looks at this range, says between 900 and 900, set it to 0. So, and that's slot 0. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do VTX 0, 2, 0, 0, 1, 900, 900. Invalid argument count. Okay. Zero, 2. Oh, I see what I did. VTX 0, 0. Nope. 0, 2, 0, 0, 2. Oh, 900, 900. Okay, save. Now, in theory, that should no longer let me put it in pit mode, and that because I don't know why. Every time I put it in 25 milliwatts, it was going into pit mode. So let's see. Yeah, that's backwards. Of course, it's backwards. And where's 500, by the way? Damn it, I'm gonna have to work that out. This is 0, 1, 2. 2 should be 500. So VTX 2 should be 500. I might just change all of these. Yeah, that should be 500 for all of them. That's weird. I'm going to have to go back and spend some time with this. So let's see. When you put it in this range, it's the final range is, let's see, the modes. If you go into modes, of course it reboots. You go into modes and move this switch. Which one is it? I'm cheating a little bit. I'm using this to figure out which switch this is on. So this is 3. Okay. So when 3 is down, it's at 2000. So the rates are 1000, 1500, and 2000. When it's down, it's at 2000. So if it's down and at 2000, that means 1, but 1, this should be 2. That's the problem. This should be 2 and then 1, 1. Let's try that. So this is crazy. This should be 2. And then slot 1 should be 1. And I'm going to set slot 0 to 1 as well. Whoops, I just messed that up because I forgot to change the range. 1900 to 2100. Okay. Now this one, slot 1, 2, this should be 1400 to 1600. And then I'm going to do the same thing for slot 0. I want that to be the same. Because for some reason, I don't know what the deal is, but every time this thing goes into, 25 milliwatts, it's going into pit mode, which is strange to me. It shouldn't do that. Okay, video transmitter. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. It's down right into 25. I've got something broken with that configuration. I'm gonna have to play with that. I think with the Rush VTX, you need a specific table from Rush rather than generic. Yeah, that might be. Might need a specific VTX table. Yeah, that's worth a look, because nothing I'm doing is working. I can tell you that. All right, Rush tank. Let's try it. There's got to be a better answer than this. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely not respecting like the VTX power level adjustments. That's for sure. You know, here's another way to do this, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm getting to a point right now where I just don't care. I'm getting tired of screwing with it. Let me just do this. VTX. And I'm going to do VTX 0, 0, 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 900, 900. And of course, that's not taking. VTX 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 900, 900. Okay. All I'm going to do is blow up this table. I'm going to get rid of this for now. Oops. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 900, 900. Damn it. Okay. So there's that. That basically disables the switch. And now I'm just going to go on the video transmitter, and I'm going to set it at power level 200, 500, and I'll leave it on low power disarm until first arm. And honestly, that's fine. I don't need. I always, whenever I'm flying with analog anyway, I just punch it. But it's got to stop going into this frickin' insisting. It's got to be something with that power level, because every time I use 500, that's where I'm seeing some issues. There's got to be something with this table. Has to be. It's like a label is wrong or something like that. So race band 3. Yeah. Every time I use that 500, maybe pit mode is 0. Yeah, there could be. There's got to be something messed up with this table. I have to think that there's something messed up with this table. I need to find the rush tank table. In fact, I'm gonna try just out of curiosity. I'm gonna do the Betaflight VTX tables again. I'm just gonna try it one more time. I'm gonna try putting it in for 2.0 in the USA. I'm gonna do copy, Control C, and I'm gonna load it from the clipboard. The values have been loaded but not yet stored. You must verify the values. Okay, fine. Yeah, but you know, yeah, 0, 1, 2. Yeah, I gotta think there's something not right about this one. I gotta find yeah, pit 25 from the website product page. Yeah, it had to be something like that. So 4 and let's see, pit 25. So we'll do. Can you put a number in there? Will that take 100? 25, 200, 500, 800, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's try this. Yeah, and if that doesn't work, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and, hey, look at that. How about that? You can put pit as a label and it seems to work, but let's see if I can change it now to 500 without having it freak out. Yeah, there's 500. Yeah, that was it. June Loco, man. He gets the gold star. Oh no, wait, who was it? Who got it first? Who got it first? Who did it first? Yeah, I know how to do the configuration. It just was wrong. It didn't work off the stock table. It was Kelly got it. Power Pit from the website. Kelly gets the gold star. So there you go. Yep, Kelly gets the gold star. Okay, so now in theory, I should be able to put my switch back in place. Yeah, because look, that's working correctly now. So if I put it on 200, see, it switches to 200 without any complaints. 25 should be okay. I wonder if pit works. I'm going to put it in pit and see what happens. Yeah, look at that. Not only does it say pit, it says P right there. So that's actually kind of cool. So back to 25. Yeah, and we're out of pit mode. There you go, Kelly. Gold star, man. Gold star for Kelly. You guys are awesome, man. This has been fun. I hope you're having fun. I'm digging it. I'm having fun doing this. All right, let me go back now and get my freaking stupid my Betaflight common analog config and see if I can put my GPS switch back in. Not that I really need it. I'm kind of being a glutton for punishment, aren't I? Okay, so let's see. We'll use okay, we'll use let's do 1, 3, and 4. Okay. So 4, 1, we'll just do 1, 3, and 4 and see if this works. Okay. So back to the CLI, put this in. Okay. So now, let's see what happens. Video transmitter. No, it stays in pit mode. 1, 3, and 4. I didn't use 0. I used 1. So why is it putting in that one? Let's just try 2, 3, and 4 then. 2. That's weird. It shouldn't have done that because I didn't use 0. And 0 is pit mode. So that's kind of weird that it did that. But let's try it. All right, video transmitter, turn this off, save. Okay. There we go. All right, I don't know. I'm going to check and make sure you guys can see that. So yeah, oh wow, you got it. Yeah, big screen. So here you go. So there's 500 milliwatts, 200 milliwatts, 20. That's kind of what I expected. That's kind of the way you want it to work. And you should be able to switch between them. And again, that's more of a because you can kind of deal than anything else, but that's that. Okay, well, we have you guys are still hanging, so I'm gonna keep going because there's more to do. We have to do the motors. You got to do the motors and the ESC. Yeah, you guys are killing it, man. This is a good crew. This is a good group of people. So we have to do the motors though. So let me just check in on what's going on the channel, make sure the stream is actually still okay. It seems like it's okay. 18 viewers, 36 likes, okay. All right, let's do the motors. I'm going to switch back over to, let's see. We're going to need to be on the desktop for this. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the camera. The camera's got to go. And we need to add the display again. And there's the display. And now what we need to do is we need to disconnect from Betaflight. No, we don't need to disconnect from Betaflight. What we need to do is run the motors. So we'll go under motors, turn this on, and what we're going to do is just check and see what's what. So this is an inward, so I'm going to just run the motors one at a time, and first we'll see if they work. Okay, good. So one's backwards. Yeah, one is backwards. I just want to make sure I have that right. Yeah, one is backwards. 2 is okay. 3 is okay. And 4 is backwards. Okay, so 1 and 4 are backwards. All right. So now what we're going to do is we'll disconnect and we'll load up BL Heli. And we will connect. No, not right now. And I've got power to the ESC, so we'll read the setup. And we need to reverse 1. So that's 1 that gets reversed. And then motor timing. I'm going to put that on auto. And I want the PWM frequency to be 48. And we'll do that for all of them. So we click on 1 and now we're on 2. Demag compensation high, motor timing auto, PWM frequency 48. Let me check 1 again. Motor timing auto, demag high. Was it because I didn't write it? Let's write it. Oh, and I gotta reverse it, right? Okay. Number 2, demag is high. Nope, that's not 2. Demag is high, motor timing is auto, PWM is 48. Okay, that's good. 3, demag is high, motor timing is auto, PWM is 48. That's good. Number 4 needs to be reversed. So we'll write that. And we'll disconnect. And we'll go back into the motors on Betaflight and check them again. So 1 should be now spinning the other way. 1's good. 2's good. 3 is good. 4 is good. All right. There we go. We did the props. So yay, that wasn't too hard. That wasn't too hard. Let me fix this workspace, turn off this display capture. That thing's a mess. When you turn that on, that's a hot mess. All right. So I think that's probably it, right? I can't think of anything else that needs to be done. So the motors are good. We have PID tuning. We're able to switch rates. Oops, let me check this. Yep, we got rates. Oh, if you guys have never seen this before, that's another one we can do is the 6S to 4S setup, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I think I'm going to pass on that for tonight. But what you can do is you come in here under cell count and you have to duplicate the profile. So you have to copy and have 2 different profiles, and you can come down here and set one cell count to 4 and one cell count to 6. And when you do that, you can scale your motor as a target of your overall KV, and you can downscale the motor so you can run 6S or 4S automatically, and it actually works. So I've done that before, but I'm not going to fool with it tonight. I think that's it. I think that's it. So come join us on Chiati FPV. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll pop in. So I think we're done. I think that's it for tonight, man. I think we accomplished a lot. The drone is basically built. I have one other quick little thing I'll show you guys, and then we'll wrap this up. But I think Betaflight's finished. I think the camera's looking good. I did have one other quick little thing I'd like to show you guys before we finish this. So the antenna. Take the little rubber caps off and let me make sure you guys can see this on the big camera. So big camera, zoom out. Man, this desk is a hot mess, isn't it? Okay, so all I did was I just took the rubber caps off of the Crossfire antenna. I just popped those off. And then I've got a couple of zip ties handy. So what I'm going to do is run them right through here. And then just connect them loosely, not real tight. You don't want to, like wrench these things down real hard. Just kind of pull them onto the arm, but not like you're trying to secure the arm. Just kind of snug. I actually learned this from a couple of the guys that are long-term long-term visitors on the channel, cut the floppy part off, and then take a piece of heat shrink, and I guess I don't really have anything that's color matched, so I'll just go with the black. And all you do is just put this on the antenna like this, and then put the zip tie in there with it, and put your letters down. Then when you're done, you just kind of hit it with your heat gun. And what that does is it keeps the antenna from getting up into the prop wash, which is terrible. You can easily, you get, even if you're just flying around, and you're kind of crushing it a little bit, you can do that. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how easy it is to get the antennas caught up in the prop wash. So I just thought I would share that with you guys in case you'd never seen that before. It's actually a pretty cool little trick. And on one of my first quads, my Croc Baby, I was out kind of horsing around and I crashed, and I have that going the wrong way. So here, this is the way it should go. And it's easy to undo. So if, for whatever reason, if you want to change the antenna or, whatever, it's not hard to reverse this. It's very simple. You just cut the zip tie off and it pulls right out of the shrink tube. Just remember when you put it on, don't wrench the devil out of it. You just kind of snug it on there. So there we go. Put that in. Put the zip tie on that side. Make sure your numbers are down. It would annoy me. It would annoy me to no end to look at those numbers. So, and I probably need to cut a little bit of that off. That's too long. So there we go. And then I'll just hit that real quick. And that's it. Well, guys, I definitely appreciate everybody hanging out and offering tips and suggestions and throwing ideas out there. It's kind of, like I said, man, it was a little reminiscent of being a kid. It reminded me of hanging out in the garage and working on solving problems. That's just the way we used to do things, for sure. So there we go. This little guy is just about done. I think. I'll get the top plate put on. And by the way, if you didn't see it, if you didn't see it, this thing is the top plate. This little quad, man, this deck is just slammed down there. Look at that. You see, look how low that is. This is a slam frame for sure. It's kind of cool looking. I like it. But yeah, anyway. That's it. This thing's pretty much ready to go. Get the top plate on, get the props on. I'm probably going to send this back, maybe figure out a different option, and go fly. I think it's ready to go. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for so long and helping out. It was fun. I had a good time, and I'll pop over there on Chiati FPV. I'll come and check that out. Let me grab that name so I make sure I spell it right. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Wonderful introduction to trowel. Yeah, hey man, if you guys watch YouTube videos, you probably see everything go together just perfectly. That's not the real world. The real world is you got to go through this stuff. I wasn't really, when we started first having problems, I was just going to shut off the camera, but you guys seem to be kind of interested in seeing how to resolve it. So I think it was fun to do. No. All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me. And if you haven't done it, leave a thumbs up. That helps. Leave a comment in the video. That helps. And I hope you enjoyed the build review and the configuration. And after I get this dialed in, what I'll do is I'll put my entire configuration on the Maiden. So I'll go into the Maiden video when I do that, and I'll put my OpenTx configuration and my Betaflight stuff for this particular setup. I'll put it on the description, and you guys can download it and use it if you want to. So that's it. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I had a lot of fun. Man, we got a lot of hours in, didn't we? So thanks for hanging out, and it was good hanging out with you guys. Have a good night. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.